KVNT. We're talking about Ray Rice, who is a running back for the Baltimore Ravens. He punched his then fiance, now wife, in an elevator. He was caught on tape doing it. The tape was just released yesterday. He's been suspended indefinitely. The Ravens fired him. The wife defends him.
Ridiculous.
What does she say about it?
She says, well, it's kind of a long tweet.
Well, you read it already, right?
Yeah,
give us a paraphrase.
She basically is saying that the media all this is unwanted and to butt out, and he's worked so hard to make us relive a moment in our lives that we regret every day is a horrible thing. They took something away from him. She loves him. He's worked so hard for it.
Now, is she referencing his job?
Yes.
Okay.
And she said he worked for it all his life. This is our life. What don't you all get? If your intentions were to hurt us, embarrass us, make us feel alone, take all happiness away, you've succeeded on so many levels.
That's a victim, isn't it?
Yes, just know we will continue to grow and show the world what real love is.
Yeah. She's playing the victim card there, isn't she? It's funny. Yeah, because you guys have taken away my happiness.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's kind of like you and Joe Miller and the Republicans.
Oh,
no, it
how
is.
did I know this would
is
come
classic.
back?
This is classic Bonnie. The world's problems, which were created by Obama and Reid and Begich, you're blaming on Sullivan. That's exactly what this is.
I don't know about that.
Glenn gives me a
I guess if you want to try to go there, but
to figure this
I think you're just going to dig yourself a hole there.
I
don't know if I'd go that far.
It's a little different. But now here's the thing. This is very controversial. I love delving into areas where people can really get mad at you because of what you believe. But I almost like believing those things just because it's not conventional.
It's thrilling.
It is. It's the thrill.
Here we go.
Some people like to, jump out of airplanes. I like to take controversial positions.
You like to make people mad.
I understand what Ray Rice did is reprehensible, and there's no justification for it. And he should spend time in jail for it. And that his wife is absolutely crazy for giving him the time of day beyond that point. And any woman that would date him within the next 5 years is crazy. I'm not saying that he's not redeemable for the rest of his life. But any woman who would just literally, and if you saw the video, Bonnie, you haven't seen it, Glenn, you have, would hit a woman to that degree, given his full strength. It was a full punch. It would have knocked out any man, never mind a woman. That's just so reprehensible that most men, frankly, can't even imagine doing to a woman. It's not even something we would ever even think for a second. So having said that, there is this component in our culture that I think is unhealthy. And it is that we love to judge people. We love to condemn people. We love to criticize people. We love to look, that person's really bad. See that person, they're a really bad person. Oh yeah, you think they're bad? Yeah, they're really bad. What about you? Oh yeah, I think they're bad. And it's like everybody kind of jumps in and piles on. I was listening to Mike Gallagher driving in this morning. He's on, I think, KVNT or this station, KOAN, before we were on. And he was upset because someone was not jumping in on the judgment fest on Ray Rice. And he was condemning that person. And that person is Ben Carson.
Yeah, I saw a piece from him, Ben Carson.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, I want to play what Ben Carson said. He was on a radio program, and it's a short clip. But let's listen to what Ben, because the only appropriate answer in today's culture is Ray Rice is an animal. He's disgusting. He's horrible. Blah blah blah. Listen to how Ben Carson answers the question.
I don't know if you're aware of the Ray Rice situation. Have you been following that at all?
Yes, I saw that on the news this morning.
Yeah, well, he has now since been released after being suspended for 2 games by the league. Then the league subsequently changing its domestic abuse policy, saying they blew it on that suspension. They increased it to 6 games and then for life on the second offense. Today, because TMZ released that video, the Ravens within the hour have released him from his contract, and the league has adjusted its suspension from 2 games to indefinitely. Right move?
Well, I'm hopeful that they will get some help for him. Obviously anyone who would do something like that needs some help. And, let's not all jump on the bandwagon of demonizing this guy. He obviously has some real problems. And his wife obviously knows that because she subsequently married him. So they both need some help. And rather than just jumping on a punitive bandwagon, let's see if we can get some help for these people.
Very interesting the take on that.
Glenn, I don't know what your thought. Don't worry about the video. Let's focus on the show. I don't know what your thought on this is, but that wasn't the typical answer from the hundreds of talk show host guests who commented on Ray Rice. What is your thought on that response?
Well, I don't see how you could say that it's wrong. I just don't know. Here's what I don't like is I don't know enough information about this. The abuse that goes on in the homes of abusers goes on pretty much daily, all the time. I looked at this video. I gave you my first impression. She'd never been abused before.
Because she went at him.
She did not expect it. He was not going to hit her. He had never hit her before, and he may never have hit her since. I don't know. She married him. Maybe she's used to abuse. I come into this and I see like this is the one blip on the screen that you see, but you don't.
But that doesn't justify what he did.
I never justified it at all.
So what's your point?
My point is I don't have enough information. I don't know whether this is a daily thing. I don't know whether
does it matter if it was a daily thing?
No, I think what you said is right. I think he needs to go to jail.
Yeah.
He needs to go to jail. He needs to pay a debt to society. Once he's out of jail, I don't think that he should be fired from his job. And
you don't?
No, I don't think that's appropriate.
You don't think somebody should be fired for punching a woman and knocking her out?
No, I think that he should do jail time.
Let's take a time out. 6:44. A woman and knocking her out?
No, I think that he should do jail time.
Let's take a time out. 6:44.
Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
What in the name of Blackbeard's ghost is going on here?
Yar, it's the 2014 Pirate Pub Crawl in downtown Anchorage, Captain, on Saturday, September 20th.
Shiver me timbers. We'll need to batten down the hatches and set our course to help raise money for the Blood Bank of Alaska's treasure chest, else we'll be sent to Davy Jones' locker.
Aye, navigate your way to Town Square at 7 p.m. for a group photo with your crew. Make way anytime after 7 p.m. to the participating pubs in downtown Anchorage with your treasure map to win 80,000 air miles and more.
We need it now! Jive hole to AnchorageDowntown.org for more details and discounts on hotel stay, costumes, and parking at Easy Park lots for the night.
Yo ho, me hearties!
We best be seeing your scallywags at the Pirate Pub Crawl on September 20th.
Brought to you by the Anchorage Downtown Pirate Ship, K&H Graphics, the Blood Bank of Alaska, the Odom Corporation, Dooley's Tuxedos and Rentals, and Alaska Integrated Media.
Find a job you'll enjoy going to every day. Maybe find a new career. Come to the annual Jobs Fair on September 10th at the Egan Center from 10:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. You'll have the chance to meet with more than 60 businesses. Dress your best and come to meet local employers looking for employees just like you. Change your future. September 10th at the Egan Center. Free resume evaluations and resume updating assistance on site. Full-time, part-time, and seasonal jobs available. The Fall Job Fair.
He's an abuser. This is the daily activity for him. Yeah.
Is it already time for your kindergartner to start learning reading, writing, and arithmetic? Would you like them to also learn science, history, and geography? Let's mix in the fun of music, art, and learning through play. Anchor Lutheran School offers this and much more in a class of no more than 22 students. Kindergarten through junior high enrolling now. Anchor Lutheran School on Arctic Boulevard, just north of Diamond. Visit alsalaska.org or call 522-3636 to learn more.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel.
1-8, that's 563-4118, or visit us at akcopy.net.
Fagan, Biegel. Weekdays, 6 to 9.
6:47 in the morning, 569-1080, 569-1080. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. I'm broadcasting on KOAN, KVNT. Our number 569-1080, as I said. Talking about this Ray Rice incident. He punches his wife, or fiance at the time, now wife, knocks her out cold, pulls her out of an elevator as though she's dead. She's completely knocked out. The video surfaced yesterday showing that what happened in the elevator. We had seen video previously about him pulling her out of the elevator, but his story at the time was that she was drinking and she had passed out. But the video clearly shows that he knocked her out. Now, I'm a little curious. Oh, Bonnie, your thought. You had a thought on this.
Well, I think, from Ben Carson.
Yeah, Ben, we played a clip by Ben Carson, who basically said, let's not rush to beat up on the guy. He didn't condone Ray Rice's activity.
Right.
He said they need help. He needs help. His wife needs help.
Right, and he says that because he's coming from that background. I don't know if there's been any abuse in his marriage or anything. I doubt it. It has been. There has been, but when he was younger, he had temper issues.
Based on his book.
Yes,
he wrote that in his book.
And yeah, and there was a movie too based on his book, and he is very open about that.
What was the movie?
I don't know. It had Cuba Gooding Jr. playing
really?
him.
It's a movie based on Ben Carson?
Yes.
I had no idea. Did you know that?
It's
No.
so good.
I haven't seen it.
It's a really good movie.
I'm sorry, but I have to draw a major distinction between having a temper problem and hitting a woman.
Yes, but I mean, his was more than temper. I mean, he was out of control.
So he had a history of assaulting people?
I don't know. I think he came at his mom at some point.
Came at her?
Yeah, I'm not sure if there was any physical.
But there is a major distinction.
There is, but he has that background. So he's saying, I had a problem, I got some help.
No, that's not what he's saying. You cannot have a major temper problem and equate that with someone who hits a woman. When you move into the realm of physically striking a woman.
I agree.
That is miles.
I'm just saying I think that's why he's saying that. Let's not rush, to jumping on this bandwagon. That's not my opinion. I'm saying that's my feeling as to why
because he struggled with his temper.
Yes.
He can relate to it.
Maybe.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I bet you. I don't know Ben Carson. He seems like
He's great.
I know he's found God, and this is before he found God.
Yes.
Back right.
Back
in his earlier days. Yeah. And he's a very mild-mannered, gentle guy. Mm-hmm. But I would imagine that if you were to say to him, even in his earlier days, did you ever think about hitting a woman? I doubt that he would say yes.
Oh, I don't know. He said it was pretty bad.
That he had a temper.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Glenn?
Well, I do wonder how widespread abuse is in the NFL.
Why the NFL? Because it's a violent sport?
Yeah. Yeah, these are big guys, and they pretty much kind of write their own rules. And you do have to wonder what the rules are inside a place that writes their own rules. I mean, these are people who make, probably $5 million on average a year. And I don't know. If 10% or 20% of the NFL was fired tomorrow because this guy got caught, but everybody else is in the, not everybody else, but 20% of players are in the midst of doing this.
So you think that the NFL was wrong to fire Ray Rice?
No, I think they should have released him. I think everything so far has gone the way it should have. I think that he needs to be prosecuted for assault, and I don't know how much time he'll serve. I'm not sure what. Maybe you don't serve time on the first time. I don't know.
I don't
think you do.
I know, but you should.
Yeah.
You agree?
I think. Well, I guess so. Yeah. Yeah. The first time. Yeah.
I mean, this should be a deterrent to punching a woman and knocking her out.
Yeah. 3 months or something. I don't know. I don't know what it would be. I guess it'd be up to a year.
I would say at least a year.
Yeah.
That's a horrible thing to do. Punch and knock a woman out.
Yeah.
He could have killed her.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, this is a big NFL player. She's not a big woman.
I don't think he should. To me, that's by him keeping his spot on the team. That's rewarding his behavior.
Well, he's gone off the team.
Well, I know, but if for people saying, "Oh, I think that was a little harsh," I think maybe he should go to jail and then be able to play again. No, I mean those football players are role models. I mean, kids look up to them.
Yes.
And you should not be. No, maybe they shouldn't, but they do. Yeah.
Now, do you think they stay together? Do you think this marriage makes it?
Sounds like she's with him.
Yeah.
My nephew,
I think she will,
who was a Caucasian, when he was, I think, 4.
Is he not a Caucasian now?
He still is.
Okay.
I said, what do you want to do when you grow up? And you know what he said?
I want to be
as innocently as possible. I want to be a black football player.
Oh.
And he was sincere.
He thought he could
because he loved Reggie Bush, who played for the Saints.
He didn't just say football player.
Black football player. And he was sincere as can be.
Hey, Michael Jackson turned from black to white, so you probably could, you could accomplish that.
But
am I wrong?
Look, when I'm
right on
that. He tried.
When my first religion in life was Archie Manning. Archie Manning was my God growing up. He quarterbacked the Saints when I was a kid. I worshipped the guy. Everything he did, he was literally my God, unfortunately. But all kids, I think, are like that, who really get into sports at a young age.
Yeah.
But so to see him, to Ray Rice, to have him get caught on camera punching a woman falling to the ground as though she were dead, absolutely the NFL should draw the line and say, we will never have you in our league again.
That's right.
Like, there has to be a highest of high standards for the National Football League because they have such an influence on young people. If you're caught, in my opinion, using, look, it's a privilege to play for the NFL. It's not a right. If you're going to join our league, you have to follow a certain standard of conduct because kids look up to us. And even if you're the greatest running back ever to play our game, and you go out and you hit a woman, you use drugs, you drive drunk, whatever, you're out. You've lost your privilege.
You can be replaced. Everybody can be replaced.
Well, sure.
So, just to say, oh, well, I mean, there are many more who are dying to take his place, who are upstanding.
But that's not really the point because it's about their value. You got a guy like Michael Jordan to the NBA. Since Tiger Woods has been injured in the last, 5 or 6 major tournaments, ratings on golf tournaments are down 40%. These guys bring. If LeBron James were to quit the NBA tomorrow, the ratings would go down 25%. So the NFL has to make a decision. Do we want to, take a hit financially to have a certain standard of conduct that we will not tolerate? So sometimes, Ray Rice isn't really that superstar.
I was going to say, I've never heard of Ray Rice.
No, but you would.
Is he related to Jerry Rice?
Do you know 5 NFL players?
I could probably name some.
That are playing now.
Name 5.
Playing now.
Probably.
Give me 5.
Peyton Manning. I really can't. The quarterback from Seattle last year. I don't know. Okay, maybe I can't. I know a lot of past ones. Joe Montana, Jerry. All right, I'm not good on my feet.
It's not normal. It's not normal for women to know that kind of stuff. You're okay. 5'6", 9", 1080.
Brett Favre.
Brett Favre. 5'6", 9", 1080.
So this is idealism because you didn't know. You had no information whatsoever about the people who you quote worshipped.
Archie Manning, you mean?
Yeah. What did you know about him? Did you know him personally?
Knew everything about him statistic-wise.
Okay. Did you know what he did on his off hours?
Let me tell you. I later learned, because I became good friends with one of the guys who covered sports back in that day, that he had a major drinking problem. This is like when I was in my 30s I learned. What? Archie? And he eventually got over it. It was kind of one of those things in his 20s. No, I didn't know anything about him. I had never met him. I saw him in person because we went to the games, but I knew nothing about him other than what he did on the football field.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, I'm a kid. You know.
Did they not pay as much attention to personal matters back then, like to their personal
Oh,
life?
I don't think. Yeah, probably. You know, I think probably we get.
Yeah, there's a lot
more.
of sensationalism now.
I think
and
so.
People
but
are more, wanting to know about other people's lives.
personal lives.
Right.
Yeah.
You want to get rid of every NFL player uses drugs.
Yeah, I would say if I was the commissioner of the NFL,
Okay.
and I owned an NFL team, I would say that if you get caught using illegal drugs,
Uh-huh.
you have lost your privilege of playing for the National Football League.
Now, what if we had spies that were everywhere? Because this is a video that occurred in a elevator shaft or whatever.
Video,
It's a hidden video. I mean, but let's say we had hidden video, and 70% of NFL players are using drugs.
I know where you're going. It's just this simple, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the few professions where young people literally idolize the people in that profession.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, if part of your goal is to be a National Football League player, you have to come to terms in your heart that you're not going to do anything illegal. That's part of the deal.
This comes though from you in the fact that you idolize people.
Yeah, but I'm not alone.
Who you should not idolize.
But all my friends did the same thing, Glenn.
I can just let you know that.
Do you know
who you did not know? You're idolizing people you didn't know.
70% of the kids in my neighborhood were exactly like me. They were obsessed with sports, and they all idolized Archie Manning and whoever else was on the Saints team. Now, you didn't follow sports as a kid.
No.
So this is something that it's a concept that you're not familiar with. But I'm telling you, my nephews are the same way.
Yeah, well, the concept that I believe is you think people are better than they are. They're not that good. If your standard
I'm
was
not
applied,
justifying it.
if your standard was applied,
I'm a kid.
70%
I'm 7 years old.
Maybe 90% of these guys would
I'm 6 years
applied.
justifying it.
If your standard was applied,
I'm a kid.
70% of
I'm 7 years old.
90% of these guys would
I'm 6 years old. 6:58.
Got the best ingredients, the pizza comes out right.
What in the name of Blackbeard's ghost is going on here?
Your experience the flavor, call us right away. 24/7, it's a pizza party day.
For the past 20 years, Sicily's Pizza has served Alaskans hot, fresh, quality pizza at a great price. And as a special thanks to all of their loyal customers, Sicily's is having a 20th anniversary sale. Any pizza, any size, for just 20 cents. Now that's an offer that you really can sink your teeth into. Call 333-8000 and order the Sicily's 20th anniversary special. Buy any pizza, any size, and get a second pizza for only 20 cents. Order online at sicilyspizza.com. Offer valid for pickup and carry out only. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza, 333-8000.
Listen online at 1080KOAN.com. Hot Talk 95.1 FM, 1080 AM, KOAN, Anchorage.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony.
If we do nothing, ISIS will strike and attack us on the homeland.
Democratic Congressman Eliot Engel says toss out politics. This is an American problem. Republican House Speaker John Boehner and other leaders from the Capitol will meet with President Obama this afternoon.
I am looking for a strategy from the president that takes on this terrorist threat and defeats it.
Secretary of State Kerry will go to the Middle East today to build a global coalition against that ISIS terrorist army. The president addresses the nation tomorrow. Ebola has come to America a fourth time. Another doctor infected in Africa's outbreak will be treated here. Fox News Radio's Evan Brown has more live.
Dave, another U.S. doctor working in Western Africa is back in the U.S. for Ebola treatment. This doctor was volunteering with the World Health Organization in Sierra Leone. A non-commercial air ambulance brought the doctor to Georgia. The unidentified victim is now at the isolation ward at Emory University Hospital, which successfully treated 2 U.S. missionaries for Ebola after they got infected in Liberia. A third U.S. patient is undergoing Ebola treatment in Nebraska, Dave.
And the day after Ray Rice was kicked off the Baltimore Ravens and suspended indefinitely by the NFL over the video showing Rice punching and knocking out his then fiancée, now wife, she's apparently reacting. Fox News Radio's Tanya J. Powers has her comments live.
Well, the Instagram post is reportedly by Janae Rice, calls the current situation with her husband a horrible nightmare and says she feels like she's mourning the death of her closest friend. She goes on to call the release of the video a rating stunt and also says, "This is our life. What don't you all get? If your intentions were to hurt us, embarrass us, make us feel alone, take all happiness away, you've succeeded on so many levels." She adds they'll show the world what real love is, Dave.
Tony, there's still a lot of help wanted out there. The number of U.S. job openings remain near the highest level in 13 years in July, and companies stepped up hiring in that month to the fastest pace in nearly 7 years. On Wall Street, the Dow is down 76. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Attention homeowners. I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. We've told you about HARP in the past. There are so many more of you who could be saving hundreds of dollars every month on your mortgage. It's simple and easy. And for 4 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. To learn more, call 800-QUICKEN.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Important terms and conditions apply. Calls for cost information. Equal housing lender. Licensed all 50 states and MLS number 3030.
Gear up for fall and haul in the savings. Choose 0% 60-month financing or big cash off select John Deere tractors. From the 1 family to 150 horsepower utility tractors. Plus, get $1,500 off new 1-family tractors when you buy 2 implements. Offer ends October 31st, 2014, subject to approved credit on John Deere financial installment plan. Some restrictions apply. See your participating dealer for details.
Visit your local John Deere dealer today to take advantage of special savings going on now. Find out more at myjohndeeredealer.com.
This is Herb Ekman with Alaska Sausage. I have some news for you hunters. Our specials this year include our famous bratwurst, pastrami, Polish hot dog. Our specials are always very popular, and I believe you're really going to love these. We have been processing game meat for Alaskan hunters for over 45 years. We know superior products start with superior meat, and that's why we only accept clean game meat that's been well cared for before it gets to us. Our traditional old-world recipes turn your carefully prepared meat into superior products. You will be happy to serve your family and friends.
Alaska Sausage, 2914 Arctic Boulevard. And for our Valley customers, there's no need to bring your game all the way to Anchorage. Now you can simply drop your clean, boneless meat at Smoked Alaska Seafoods in Wasilla, where Alaska Sausage will pick it up, complete your order, and bring it back to you.
Just tell them Herb sent you.
This is Dr. Ellenberg. Are you tired of taking medications? Do your medications create more side effects than solutions? Do you want more than 15 minutes with your doctor? If you answer yes to those questions, you should consider calling the Ellenberg Center for Natural Medicine. At our center, we take the time to listen and focus on finding the cause of your health problems. Whether you have a cold, high blood pressure, diabetes, or cancer, we can help. Call the Ellenberg Center for Natural Medicine at 563-2366 or visit us online at drellenberg.com. We can help.
When Malarkey Mark Begich ran for U.S. Senator, he made a lot of claims about his record as Anchorage mayor. Begich knew the truth wouldn't come to light before the election. But now, history is caught up with Malarkey Mark. Under Begich, Anchorage taxes went up 27%. Under Begich, the city budget ballooned.
Experience with delusions of grandeur.
Unprecedented 5-year union contracts. Under Begich, a deficit of over $20 million was left.
Worship.
Begich left Anchorage in serious trouble. Alaska's Energy, America's Values paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. It's time to replace Malarkey Mark with U.S. Senator Dan Sullivan. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. EnergyandValues.com.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
Why, thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years.
I get scared at the...
Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist with Dr. Kiley.
To have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth, and Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give him a call, 569.
That's 244-0821.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning on the Talk of the...
right, welcome back. 6 minutes past 7 o'clock on a beautiful, beautiful. Well, actually, it's raining. Scratch that beautiful stuff.
It's still a beautiful
That
day
beautiful
out there.
crap. 569-1080. You know, our good friend Mike Daniels over at Country Financial. Country Financial has become really Alaska's premier financial planning organization. They have 13 locations now in Alaska, 5 in Anchorage, 5 in the Valley, others across the state. And there's a reason that Country Financial has grown so much. Alaskans have come to learn that if you want good financial planning advice, good insurance advice, Country Financial is the team to go with. Mike Daniels he's well known in the community as having great wisdom in this arena, and his team that he has assembled, they're the best, folks. You can't get from here to there without making the right decisions, and I'm talking about working your whole life and then having a successful, worry-free retirement. You have to make the right decisions. You have to have the right wisdom, knowledge. Mike Daniels and his gigantic team at Country Financial can help you get there. They're going to ask you the right questions. They're going to make sure you have adequate insurance, and you will be thrilled when you retire that you went and saw Country Financial earlier in your life. Country Financial, the number 866-COUNTRY, 866-COUNTRY. And now here's Vanna White to tell us how to spell country.
COUNTRY.
She's gone. Vanna's gone.
Would you
Come
like
back,
a vowel
Vanna.
with that?
What happened?
Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie were broadcasting on KVNT in the Valley, Anchorage, Alaska, and on KOAN. And we're also streaming live on the internet, and I am putting that on my Dan Fagan Show Facebook page. So if you are in your car and you're about to get into your cubicle, or you're about to get to work, or if you're at home and you're listening to the radio and you actually want to see the show, you can go to the Dan Fagan Show Facebook page or danfagan.us, and we have a link for it up there also. 569-1080. We're talking about the Ray Rice incident. Football player punches his fiancee, now wife, knocks her out. He's suspended indefinitely. I was trying to explain to Glenn how I idolized NFL players when I was a kid, and that's why I think we should have a really high standard of for a standard of conduct for athletes playing in the NFL, because kids tend to really look up to these guys. Now, you had an example of what I was. Bonnie said during the break that I wanted to be. I thought really up to my junior year in high school, even though I wasn't even close to being the best player on my high school football team. I was convinced that I was going to make it and play college football. Of course, I never had a chance. And Bonnie said that was that happens a lot in poor neighborhoods where kids think that's the only way they can make a living. But we weren't necessarily poor, and I didn't care about any of that. I just wanted to play football for a living.
Yeah.
Now, you've had delusions of grandeur, too.
Well, yeah, I do wonder how many people go through this. I never idolize people who are sports figures or anything like that, because I always have a feeling that money corrupts people pretty dramatically. But I did think that I was better than I was, and I think a lot of people who are in sports go through that. So I tried out for the Arizona State University water polo team.
What?
Oh, my word.
You're making that up.
Why does that
No.
This is a bit.
surprise me?
This is like a Saturday Night Live bit, right?
What is water
a bit.
polo
This is
anyway?
a skit.
I don't even know
Well,
what it is.
water polo, I figured water polo was something that people did if they couldn't make the swim team. But it turns out that the people who are on the water polo team are probably about 99% as fast as the people who are on the swim team, and then they're a lot beefier and bigger and huger. I got in the pool where all these guys are like 6'6", 6'8", the huge arm spans, just monsters, and they could swim like nobody's business. Anyway, I determined at that point, Dan, that I was a little outmatched in the end.
So you went ahead with the tryout, though?
Yeah, I did. I got in the pool. I said, why the heck not? No, I was a good swimmer. I went to state every year when I was here.
Why don't you just do the swim team?
Well, my brother was on the swim team. He is 6'5" and has these enormous feet, just ridiculously huge feet. I didn't get the feet.
Like flippers for feet,
and if you don't get the feet, it's pretty tough actually to compete.
Why don't you just put flippers on?
You can't propel your way through the water.
I should have. Well, people don't realize, but your kick is about 35%, 40% of how fast you swim.
I've never gotten the kick down. I'm not a good swimmer.
Yeah. So anyway, but so I knew I couldn't make the team. Plus, frankly, I didn't want to be on the team. People don't maybe you may not know this. You have to be in the pool for 4.5 hours a day.
Wow.
A day.
There's something that you said that I think I take issue with.
All right.
Let me hear your elaborate on it. Maybe I'm wrong, but you never idolized athletes because you thought money corrupts?
Yeah.
Explain that.
Well, people who are good at a sport doesn't make them good.
Right. I agree with
when you add a whole bunch of money, and you look at most everybody, I know there are exceptions to this, so I'm not saying this is universal at all, that there are truly some good people, then you add money to them and they stay good. But you look at people who go to Hollywood, what a disaster. And you add money to people who are either not particularly good or not good at all, they become disasters, not people to look up to, not people to idolize. Money's a very dangerous tool. It's a very dangerous thing for most average people.
Is it the money or the power and influence?
I think that it's the lack of rules and the ability to do literally anything you want. Because human beings, like if you take a certain amount of a drug, whatever drug, you can name whatever it is, over time you get used to that amount of drug. You need a little more drug, or a little different kind of drug, or a little stronger drug. And people are like that in every area of their life. The way we're made is to sort of become addicted to things or just get used to things, so that people who drink, they got to drink a little bit earlier. They got to drink a little bit more. They got to drink a little bit harder in order to get that same high.
So you think it's the actual money that corrupts?
Yeah, I do.
I don't. I think it's the money reveals who you are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's the money that makes you. I think money, if anything, because the only difference between some rich dude on Wall Street who has a cocaine problem and the wino sleeping in a field tonight in Anchorage is money. They're both living destructive, non-functioning lives, but the money allows them to live their addiction without, losing everything. I don't really think money is the corrupting influence.
It may not be, and it may not be in every case. What happened to Elvis? I don't mean to call into people's, because I don't know everything about Elvis, but I know that he was a very, very good man. He was a very patriotic man, and I'd heard that somebody introduced him in like 1955 or something like that to drugs.
When you say good
and maybe
man,
that was his downfall.
I don't really understand, because is someone a bad person because they get addicted to something?
No.
Okay.
No.
So, addiction is something that comes, and you don't have to have money to have an addiction.
Right. People are addicted to food, frankly.
Oh, I am for sure. But I'd be food if I was poor.
Yeah, no, and most people are poor and they're addicted to food. They're constantly overeating, to their own detriment.
But addictions
and can't control it.
But I don't understand how the money is the corrupting influence.
I think money allows you.
It brings out who you are.
Yeah, I think in large case that is true. But
we'll talk about it in a minute. 7:14.
Large case that is true, but
we'll talk about it in a minute. 7:14.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT, 92.5 FM, 1020 AM.
The 2014 Blues Train is Anchorage for Seward on Saturday, September 20th. Imagine traveling through the most breathtaking scenery that Alaska has to offer, all while listening to the great sounds of the Iris Sellers Band. Add your favorite cocktail, and some righteous appetizers, and you'll have this year's Blues Train. Once you arrive in Seward, you'll be treated to a barbecue and a party at the Pit Bar. Then you can relax in your hotel room or take in the sights that only Seward has to offer. Sunday, you're back on board the Alaska Railroad for your trip back to Anchorage. The 2014 Blues Train will sell out, so don't wait to get your tickets. Find more information at knik.com, or to make reservations, go to akrailroad.com. Blues Train 2014, brought to you by Blues Central Production, the Alaska Railroad, and by your friends at Alaska Integrated Media.
I have 2 cats and 2 dogs. All 4 of them are on the Dynavite. This stuff is amazing. The first day that I gave Sweet Pea and Daisy Dynavite for cats, I did add a little bit of the Licka Chops, and they absolutely loved it. All the vitamins, the minerals, you know, they also enjoyed the num-nums, the nub-nubs or whatever they're called, the treats that also came along with it.
DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000. They're just running through the house. They're playing. My Sweet Pea will walk in front of me. She'll stop where she's at, drop, and roll onto her back, and then expect me to rub her belly, just like a kitten. Daisy and Sweet Pea have a cat tree in my living room, and lately she's been climbing up to the top, jumping up there, and then she'll climb back down, and then she's right back up. I wish they would make a product for us humans to give us the same amount of energy and funk that Dynavite for cats are given for my cats.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 1080 KOAN.com. Fagan and Biegel. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. on the Talk of the Valley. KV.
569-1080. That's our number here. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie broadcasting to you on KOAN and KVNT. We're glad you're here. Got a big show for you. We're trying to make some sense of this Ray Rice thing and the NFL. You know, there is some information. And Ray Rice, of course, as most know, was caught on tape punching his wife, or his fiance at the time, now wife. And there is some information. I know ESPN reported on it last night that the NFL may have known that there was a punch there, pretending as though this video just came out yesterday. There's some controversy over there. I don't know. But there was a point that we were trying to make there. Oh, the money. We're talking about money.
Yeah. And whether or not money reveals character, or whether or not money is a cause of people's downfall, or just reveals the fact that they're just not good people, and then they can get away with it.
Yeah, I really have a problem with good people. Because, you know, I think, Glenn, that when people do wrong, they start to believe things that aren't true. I really believe that. You know, let's take addiction. I will be happy if I snort this cocaine. I will be happy if I get an extra cheeseburger. I will be happy if. And it's a deception that comes in. It's not that they're necessarily bad people. Now, there are people who do decide to do evil. Ray Rice punching his fiance would be a perfect example. That's not a, you know, I will be happy if I knock the crap out of my wife. You know, it's a different arena there, right? No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about his future.
Well, you know, it's embarrassing for him. Hopefully he can get some help and find out what's causes that kind of anger and rage and
Well, and part of me says, well, now he's got nothing to hold him back from doing it again. I'm just trying to put myself in her position. A little concerned. Yeah. You know, maybe she thought that by him keeping his job with the NFL, that was reason for him not hitting her. Yeah. And now he doesn't have that. I'd be worried if I were her.
She's and she's going to show other people how people work stuff out. Do you think that that this could have been the only time he hit her?
No.
It would not fit the norm.
No, wouldn't fit the norm at all.
No.
I think he'd probably hit her before, but that's just my opinion.
Why did she come after him? You think she was that drunk? She didn't look that drunk to me.
No, I just think she's got guts.
Well, we'll just never know.
I don't know.
There's no way of speculating. I mean, I think Glenn has a valid. If you were a homicide detective, you'd be a good one.
Well, she might have thought that it wouldn't happen in an elevator in a hotel.
Well, that's true.
I mean, they were in a pretty public place.
Glenn's point is that the video shows that she actually comes at him.
She hits him first.
Yeah, she hits him, comes at him.
Then he hits her and goes across, right. In a glancing blow. Then he goes across the elevator, and she comes at him, and halfway across, he decks her.
And knocks her out.
Gone.
Yeah. And it is an astute observation to say, well, any woman who's been hit by a guy regularly, the last thing she's going to do is come at him. You would think she would cower in the corner with her hands over her face.
Yes.
Which is, I think, some pretty good observation. But we don't know. It is just speculation. But it's all irrelevant. He hit her once. That's enough for me.
Yeah.
I don't need to know that this is
I don't know. I just think that the league probably knew about it before, but they're saying that they didn't. You know, and now the casino's closed. And
casino where
they've got nothing to lose, so I believe them.
Yeah.
And this is see, I think this is an important wrinkle that the casino closed because I'll tell you this for people who don't know how professional organizations work and all organizations. There's all kinds of bad stuff these NFL players are doing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They would get caught with it all the time. The police would be arresting them, and they don't.
They look the other way because
they look the other way all the time.
I think that's a fair assumption.
That's their income.
All right. Well, look,
what's their income?
I'm talking about the police. The police are not doing,
People with
and
money.
so
People
everybody, look, everybody's in on this. People, let's pull the blinders off. Everybody at every level is in on this, from the wives to the police to the players to everybody who manages these people, because this is just the way things are done. You sweep this under the rug as much as you can. I think that it's very revealing to know that this casino had to close down before the video actually came out.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, finally there is some ability for us to get a little bit of a look inside what really goes on. And I don't know how often this goes on. My guess is it goes on very, very often. Who knows when, how often, who, whatever. But
yeah. No, it's just natural, I think, for law enforcement when they see somebody they know who's a celebrity to treat them differently than they would a norm or a regular non-celebrity person.
Yeah.
And I don't think that happens in the case of, murder or this kind of stuff, because we've seen some NFL players go to jail for murder, but I think
it took a lot, though, to get them there. I mean, they had a lot of evidence on that one guy. I don't remember his name, but
was it Aaron
Hernandez with the...
Yes.
Oh, no, they were never slacking on that case. They prosecuted that from the beginning.
Okay.
I don't think any police officer would say, "Oh, you're a football player, you killed your wife, you killed your neighbor. Okay, we're cool with that." I don't think it goes that far. I think it's probably more drunk driving, speeding tickets, maybe assault in a bar.
After that he killed that person, there was a lot of, well, really did he do it? And there was a lot of more speculation
well, they
than
wanted
normal.
to be absolutely sure, and I guess that's my point. I didn't think they were ever going to drop it, and it was pretty obvious that he was involved in it in some way.
Yeah.
And they didn't drop it, and they finally did prosecute. And, yeah.
569-1080. I don't want to be I told you so.
Oh.
But I'm gonna pull an I told you so.
Tell me.
And I know that there's controversy about the poll, because some question the scientificness of it. But the New York Times CBS poll shows Sullivan up by 6 points.
Huh?
And I'm telling you, I got him at anywhere between 10 or 11 points on election day. It's going to get worse for Begich, because Begich is going to get more desperate, as though he could even get more desperate than he has. And Sullivan is going to continue to point Mark's dismal anti-Alaska, anti-development record. And it's just going to keep growing, this Begich deficit.
Yeah, the new polls, by the way, that they've been doing are not PPP, which is a Democrat organization,
right,
which is registered voters. These are likely voters.
Right.
And I still think this, though. And so I think the polls are better, the ones that we're seeing now. They're more accurate. But I still have a difficulty for who's going to show up, because there's a marijuana initiative, because there is a minimum wage initiative.
Union.
So there,
and the union.
And I actually don't know how these guys are going to come down on this. And I'm changing on this, particularly on marijuana. I know that I have to work with people who want to legalize marijuana in order to keep us free. I know that I have to do that, and I don't think a lot of conservatives think that they do have to do that. But we don't have enough of a majority in order to win without the 4, 5, 6, 7% of people who believe that way.
I'm not with anybody. I just want to know what's true.
All right.
Daryl Hess, who's the city's ombudsman. He couldn't because he's ombudsman, and I understand that. He's a pretty far left guy. And he writes in his Facebook page that he got a letter from Vince Beltrami saying, hey, you need to support TIC. We can donate here to support unity. That's what Beltrami writes. As a labor leader, I'm especially thrilled about this opportunity and the effects that a victory will have on the protection of working families. Now it's time to strengthen the PFD, support the middle class, and secure the rights of union workers. And he basically says, in solidarity, Vince Beltrami, please give us money. Now here's what Daryl writes about this idea, because Daryl is again a hardcore leftist. He said, "I never try to hide the fact." Actually, he's responding to another guy. Let me get his main point here. He says, "I got this email this morning." He says, "My response." This is Daryl Hess responding to Vince Beltrami. "And you threw the LGBT community under the bus. I don't see much solidarity from me in this ticket." And then some people kind of questioned Daryl, saying, "Well, aren't you better off under that ticket than the current administration?" And Daryl says, "Does that question make Walker any less socially conservative? A little honesty goes a long way. I don't see a lot of honesty or transparency from the Unity for Some ticket. I never try to hide the fact that I'm friends with Dan Sullivan, Mark Begich, Deborah Benito, Lisa Murkowski, Tony Knowles, or most of the people on my cell phone. When you live in a town for 49 years, you meet a lot of friends. I will continue to express my concerns with the Unity for Most Everyone ticket. My social justice values are important to me, which is why I am a card-carrying member of the ACLU and a life member of the NAACP. No matter how hard people try to repackage Walker, he is a socially conservative Republican who has not supported marriage equality. I personally don't find him the greatest thing since sliced bread. I know that you work with the Democratic Party, but I don't feel the need to call you names because you toe the party line." So basically, Daryl Hess is not going to support Walker because of his social conservatism. And I know he's not alone.
I think you were right on, right when this happened. And you said, will people be willing to give up their social stances in order for the vote yes crowd?
By the way, here's what I wrote on Daryl's Facebook page. Said, "It is without dispute Bill Walker is not in favor of redefining marriage. He's not in favor of stopping the war on women, forcing them to pay for their own contraception. Mr. Walker is a social conservative. My question is, how can an entire party abandon its values and principles and vote for this guy? He does want to tax the oil industry into oblivion, killing jobs and investment. He has that going for him. But this protect the life of babies in the womb and refusing to find marriage thing is inexcusable."
You are
Bingo.
really stirring it up there.
Real quick, Robert, you got about 15 seconds. What do you got?
Hi, Danny. Hey, here's my real quick one, and it's not PC. I was trying to think about who in Western civilization, is there anybody that we look up to who is a known wife beater? And the reason I'm bringing this up is, one, I've read the Quran a couple times, and Muhammad, it very specifically tells you you are allowed to go ahead and hit them at different times.
Great point, Robert.
I can't think in Shakespeare or the Bible anybody that we look up to in that regard.
Great point, Robert. Thank you for your call. 729, Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. Robert, thank you for your call. 729, Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie.
And now, the Fox News Business Report, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing.
From the Fox Business Network, stocks remain under pressure as investors look over more corporate earnings and await new product announcements from Apple later today. At around 11 a.m. Eastern Time, the Dow Industrials are down 76 points, S&P 500 below 2,000. Shares of McDonald's, which is a Dow component, under pressure. The fast food giant says its global same-store sales fell 3.7% in August from a year ago, due in part to a recent meat scandal in China and increased competition in the U.S. Same-store sales in the U.S. also fell. Shares of Barnes & Noble are trading higher. The bookseller lost 56 cents a share in its fiscal first quarter, coming in better than expected. However, revenue of more than $1.2 billion just missed the estimate. The company says that Nook revenue was down 54% from a year ago. And a changing of the guard at Delphi Automotive. The auto parts maker says CEO Rodney O'Neill will retire on March 1st, 2015. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Cheryl Casoni.
You've been thinking about moving over to solar power for your home. So are a lot of other people, which is why some power companies are pushing for extra fees to make up the difference. Get caught in the middle or go with a trusted local solar company and actually own it with no down payment, interest, or payments for a whole year. Get all the tax incentives you're entitled to while you still can. We finance. Call for your free in-home assessment. Call 1-800-MY-SOLAR today.
My home, my savings. 1-800-MY-SOLAR.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. Officials here in Alaska have signed a memorandum of understanding with the Japanese government. The agreement covers only the exchange of information about the possibility of LNG exports. A man who allegedly fled Florida 23 years ago to evade sexual battery charges just pleaded guilty in a local courtroom to identity theft. 60-year-old Joseph Keenan May allegedly used his dead stepbrother's identifying information to avoid detection while he was living in Eagle River. Health officials have confirmed a rare case of the mumps in Alaska. It's the first confirmed case in the state since 1995. The patient is a 50-year-old woman who may have contracted the disease in Japan. Hearings are being held across the state this month on the ballot question voters will decide in November. A hearing in Nome today focuses on the proposed raise in Alaska's minimum wage. That's your Hot Talk News update. Local weather is next.
Mostly cloudy skies with a bit of rain. For today, high 56. For tonight, cloudy with a brief shower or two, low 50. Wednesday, cloudy with a passing shower, high 56. Wednesday night, low 47. Thursday, clouds and sun with a shower in spots, high 62. High 59. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
What in the name of Blackbeard's ghost is going on here?
Yar, it's the 2014 Pirate Pub Crawl in downtown Anchorage, Captain, on Saturday, September 20th.
Shiver me timbers, we'll need to batten down the hatches and set our course to help raise money for the Blood Bank of Alaska's treasure chest, else we'll be sent to Davy Jones' locker.
Aye, navigate your way to Town Square at 7 p.m. for a group photo with your crew. Make way anytime after 7 p.m. to the participating pubs in downtown Anchorage with your treasure map to win 80,000 air miles and more.
Now, dive hole to AnchorageDowntown.org for more details and discounts on hotel stay, costumes, and parking at Easy Park lots for the night.
Yo ho, me hearties.
We best be seeing your scallywags at the Pirate Pub Crawl on September 20th.
Brought to you by the Anchorage Downtown Pirate Ship, K&H Graphics, the Blood Bank of Alaska, the Odom Corporation, Dooley's Tuxedos and Rentals, and Alaska Integrated Media.
Did you know that one of the state's premier medical facilities is located right in the heart of South Anchorage? Thanks to the Alaska Neurology Center, there's no need to leave Alaska anymore when it comes to treating the nervous system. You'll receive the best care at the Alaska Neurology Center for epilepsy, cerebral palsy, brain injuries, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, Huntington's disease, multiple sclerosis, speech disorders, and they offer pain management as well. And if you're having trouble sleeping at night, the Alaska Neurology Center has the best sleep disorder experts in the state. They also have the most sophisticated MRI imaging technology in Alaska. If you need relief from stress or from migraines, relax in their luxurious spa. At the Alaska Neurology Center, their massage therapists are amazing, and they offer hydrotherapy, infrared sauna, hot and cold therapy, and shiatsu massage. And their medical spa also offers facials and waxing. The Alaska Neurology Center, located on Diamond and Old Seward.
What if buying your next car could actually be enjoyable? At Payless Car Sales, we believe it should be. If you're in the market for your next car, come by and meet our knowledgeable staff and explore our selection of quality vehicles. We offer military discounts, and we give all of our customers Carfax history reports. We can also provide warranties and handle all of your lending needs. Just like driving your car should be enjoyable, so should buying it. Visit us downtown at 919 East 5th Avenue or on our website at PaylessSales.com. Payless Car Sales, where Alaskans drive.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel.
That's Alaska.org or call 248-2250.
Fagan, Biegel. Weekday.
All right, welcome back. 7:35 in the morning. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie broadcasting on KVNT, KOAN. Happy to welcome to the studio here Craig Fleener, former candidate for lieutenant governor, and Terrence Shanigan, Alaska State Trooper, current trooper. You currently with the troopers?
Yes.
Yeah. Nice to meet both of you. Thanks for coming by.
Very nice to meet you guys. Thanks a lot for having us.
We're very glad to have you here in the studio. You both are involved in this really very disturbing story involving the Alaska National Guard and sexual abuse and the alleged cover-up of sexual abuse. I don't know if you can even use the word alleged anymore. In what capacity were you involved in this?
I have no involvement in it.
You have no involvement?
No.
Okay. All right. So what? I thought you were.
This is a lieutenant governor candidate, and
we're not talking about the.
No. And Terrence was involved in the Walker campaign as well.
The Walker campaign.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you wanted to talk about the sexual abuse.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't.
Oh, I apologize. I got some bad information.
I didn't brief you very well. No, what I wanted to have you guys in for was you just got dropped off the ticket, and he made room for Malat, and I wanted to talk about why they decided to go with the Unity ticket, and I'm also very interested in the approach that Begich has to Native vote. And his Get Out the Native Vote campaign, and whether or not you think that's going to be successful or not, and really what Native voters, you guys are both natives, and what do you think Native voters want to hear, if anything, from conservatives?
So let me. My apologies.
Oh, that's no
I'm
problem.
Sorry, we got.
I am in the National Guard, so I was like, gosh, what involvement did I have that I'm not aware of? I haven't been assaulted, or at least I haven't told anybody.
Actually,
that.
we have some videos here. We want you to respond to.
Yeah.
So you're with the Walker campaign now. So you basically that's your
sure. We might as well start by talking there.
Yeah.
I of course was running for lieutenant governor with Bill, and really what we did was basically took a look at the statistics. We took a look at the polls. We listened to the people of Alaska, and almost every show, I don't know if yours said it, but almost every show that I listened to said Parnell is going to win. 10, 15 percentage points. There's no way that two other tickets running a third party and a second party can beat Parnell. And so we took a look at that. I took a very long, hard look at it and said that this is really the only way forward. If I wanted to see a Walker governor, then I was going to have to take a look at what I wanted to do, what I was willing to do. And so I was willing to step aside because I put all of my cards, all of my chips, I should say, on Walker and Walker winning.
How long did you think about it before doing it?
I probably thought about it for 8 or 10 days, and although because of all of the long-standing discussion that was going on around, of course I'm scratching my head. First of all, saying, "Gosh, I don't want to do this. Yeah, I'm not a quitter. I quit my. Well, I guess I am a quitter. I quit my job at Fish and Game back in October. And it was a very good job. I loved my job at Fish and Game, and I put my family on the line. 11 actually long, hard months of campaigning, and then to step aside. So
they approached you 8 to 10 days before this happened?
No, it was. I started thinking about it because of the polling, because of everything else, and Bill.
No one had ever approached you saying, "Hey, we may do this."
No, Bill and I had a conversation about it, and we were looking at the polling numbers, and we started to come to the realization that we can stand strong together. I can stand firm. I can stand up for my rights and what I believe in, and come in a nice second place. And I thought to myself, what's the use of raising and spending another $200,000 or $300,000 or $400,000 to come in second place when we have a much greater chance of getting Bill Walker in office and with this change?
We're talking with Craig Fleener, who was the ex-lieutenant governor candidate with Bill Walker on the ticket. When he ran that poll, and this was a bit ago, I think it was a month ago at least, was the first time we heard about the poll. The poll that he ran said, well, if I did not have to go up against Malat and Parnell, then that gives me a shot to be governor. When was that done, and how was that decision made?
I don't remember when the poll was done, but clearly we had been told all along by everybody in radio, on TV, all of our friends, just basically everybody, that a three-way race is very hard to defeat a standing incumbent.
Did you ever have a conversation with AFL-CIO? Because this didn't become real until it seemed like the AFL-CIO comes out and says, we're not supporting anybody unless we get one ticket.
Right. I never had a conversation with those guys, but of course, when they had the AFL-CIO meeting up in Fairbanks, the other three candidates were there. I was not available, so I didn't go. But they weren't involved in any of the negotiations. We had negotiations, basically 4 days of negotiations over last weekend or the weekend before last, where we were all sitting down around the table, our camp and their camp, and some Democrats and some Republicans. I was the only nonpartisan guy in the room as an undeclared, and we basically sat there and said, if we're going to go forward, what are we going to do? And so the official decision was made over that weekend, but it was no union people in the room whatsoever.
We're talking with Craig Fleener, who was a former candidate, and lieutenant governor candidate on the Walker ticket. Did they promise you something?
You mean me personally? No. As a matter of fact, I asked Bill not to promise me anything, not to offer me anything, and I told Bill that I'm not going to ask him for anything because I didn't want anybody to ever be able to come back and say, oh, you did this just so you could get that job. So I told him, let's not put anything on the table right now, and I don't even know if we're going to do it later. What I said is, if you are going to consider me sometime down the road, that I be considered in a competitive manner like anyone else, because I want to get this job get a job if I'm going to work for the state based on my merits, not just because I did somebody a favor.
So you're socially conservative?
Well, no. I'm undeclared. I don't.
Where do you stand on abortion?
I'm against abortion.
Why is that?
Because I think that it is unconstitutional when you take the life of somebody. That I believe if you're going to take someone's life, it's an unconstitutional act.
What about redefining marriage?
Redefining it in what way?
Well, right now it's defined as between a man and a woman.
Well, I actually don't think the government has a role in defining marriage. I think that's none of the government's business. I think we've over-empowered the government, and they should stay out of our lives, and marriage is one place they should stay out of our lives. So I guess I would redefine it by taking an eraser to it and saying it doesn't belong there.
So Mr. Malot's position on life is different than yours?
Oh, I believe that's commonly known.
Yeah. So you're still supporting the ticket, though?
Yes, I'm supporting the ticket because I believe Bill Walker will do a better job.
And what has Bill explained to you how he's going to negotiate the differences with him and Mr. Malott, which I'm assuming are considerable, especially on social issues?
Well, there are certainly some differences, absolutely. Anybody could point those out. But in the negotiation, when we were sitting there around the table, I can tell you with no uncertainty that Bill was very firm on all of his social issues, all of his issues, really. The only things he really yielded on was stepping back from his party affiliation, which I think more Alaskans should be undeclared, so I'm actually happy about it. I wasn't happy about the timing of it, but I think more Alaskans should be undeclared because I have a problem with party politics. So he yielded on that, and he also said, of course, that's also well known, that he wasn't going to push any abortion information.
But he went back on that, didn't he?
No, I don't think he did. He stood firm on that, and what he basically said is he's not going to introduce any legislation. But that's something he said all along.
Yeah.
And he didn't change any.
We're going to take a quick break. 7:44 is the time.
Yeah. And he didn't change any.
We're going to take a quick break. 7:44 is the time.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. Give them a call, 569-1080, KOAN.
I'll never forget that moment.
Never forget that moment.
As long as I live.
As long as I live.
It started with a phone call.
I got the text when I was at work.
My first call up ever as a member of the National Guard. This was it, the real deal.
When we got to the armory, they briefed us on the wildfires, how they were getting dangerously close to homes.
It was amazing to be a part of this massive operation. Helicopters were going up with huge buckets to drop water on the fires. Some of the guys in the unit were preparing for firefighting with local fire crews.
We went out in Humvees to help with the evacuations.
At that moment, I got my first taste from just how important the Guard is to my community.
See how the Guard can be an important part of your life at NationalGuard.com. Discover what it means to be a citizen soldier, to serve locally as well as globally.
Look into the benefits, including career skills and money for college. Take a moment. Go to NationalGuard.com today.
Sponsored by the Alaska National Guard, aired by the Alaska Broadcasters Association and this station.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out moviesak.com. Find movie showtimes for Anchorage and the Valley at moviesak.com. Check out trailers and reviews updated daily. Moviesak.com, your local location on the web to find out everything you need to know before you go out. Register for free movie tickets that are given away every week and the grand prize of movie tickets for life.
As an employer, you know valuable employees help grow your business. That's why you should plan to attend the annual job fair on September 10th, brought to you by Alaska Integrated Media and Alaska Dispatch News. We'll be at the Egan Center from 10:30 a.m. until 5 p.m. If you want the chance to reach today's workforce, grab a booth. There are still spots available. Just send an email to jobfair@adn.com to register or for more information. Plan to come to the Egan on September 10th and find the next star of your team.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give them a call, 569-1080. KOAN and Biegel in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT, 92.5 FM, 1020 AM.
All right, 7:47. Welcome back. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. We're on KOAN, KVNT.
We're in here with Craig Fleener, Lieutenant Governor candidate. Now Malott has replaced you on the ticket, and also Terrence Shinigan, a trooper who is involved in politics. And what I really wanted to bring you guys in here and find out about was, how the ticket was formed and all that kind of stuff. But as important as that is, I honestly have this deep question about where we're headed as a state. Are we headed there as one people? Are we headed there as many people? I read a piece by Heather Kendall Miller. Did you guys read that piece?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I read it.
And what was your initial take on it? I mean, basically her point was we want to separate. We don't want to be part of you. We don't want you to have a lot to do with us. And she really highlighted in kind of a confrontational way this separation that she's looking for. What's your take?
I think that she comes from the frame of mind that's the stereotype that's built around Alaska Natives, and my whole involvement with Craig from the beginning has been introducing to Alaska. There is a significant portion of the state represented by Alaska Natives like Craig and myself that do not come from that mindset, and so for me, my involvement helping any candidate that's out there that wants to know more and wants to understand where we can come from a different perspective is really much more of a libertarian framework. And the kinds of things in that article are the things that we tend to see most often, which is very divisive, and it's a me, I, and there's this undercurrent of some sort of government propping up of us, and that, so to me, it's just a completely different way of thinking about introducing the kinds of values that are important to us into the political arena.
Well, we could play this either from the Senate side, and Begich clearly is following Heather Kendall Miller, and this is the playbook that he's going to use. We're going to divide one group from the other. We're going to try and convince, if you're Native, you're just against sort of whatever interactions with white people. That's what I got out of it, but also from the Walker-Malott difference here, which I think there is some on fishing, because Malott says the Constitution's clear. Everybody in Alaska is to be treated equally, that there's no preference to be given based on our race or based on history. So let's play this out from both the Senate side and the state side. I'm on here with Lieutenant Governor, ex-Lieutenant Governor Craig Fleener, Terrence Shinigan. What does the Native population want, or is it two different things, and they're going to battle this out in the middle of this campaign?
Well, let me start by saying that there is really no such thing as what does the Native population want. For some reason, people all across this wonderful state of ours think that we're a homogenous group of single-minded thinkers. There's 130,000 Alaska Natives in the state, or something like that. And I mean, can you imagine 130,000 Republicans standing in the same room together, having one mind going
Even
forward?
two people.
Even two people.
Yeah, even
So,
two Republicans.
so the idea that we're all going to think alike is just utterly ridiculous, and people need to stop acting, oh, what's the Native viewpoint? Well, it's different. You go to all different parts of the state, the viewpoint's going to be different, the perspectives are going to be different. Some are pro-life, some are not. Some are pro pot, some are not. I mean, the list goes on.
What
and
are we
on.
to make
There's
of Heather
different-
Kendall Miller's piece then, where she essentially is saying these are the Native issues. These are why Natives need to vote for Mark Begich and not vote for Dan Sullivan.
See, she raises the issues that are common among all of us, so whether it be sovereignty, subsistence, those kinds of things. It's the solutions that we have differing opinions on. And to have one loud group like NARF try to represent the solution that is supposed to represent us all is incorrect. And not invalidating where they believe.
And what's NARF?
Native American Rights Funds.
Yeah.
Native American Rights
No,
Fund.
what's their goal? What is NARF's goal here?
I can't speak to what their goal is, but they're a team of lawyers that work on Native issues.
They're advocates.
So, yeah. But
Advocates
let me go
for what? For sovereignty?
Native rights,
for
native
splitting
issues.
off?
No,
Is that
not necessarily
what
for splitting
percentage,
off? I'm
by
not
the
sure.
way, do you think what percentage of Natives would like to essentially separate? Say these are our lands, you have your lands.
Well, I think that's
don't come onto our land.
I think it's a complex issue. Well, I'm pretty sure that most Natives don't want people trespassing on their property. So that's a given. Just like I don't want people trespassing
So
on
Native
my property.
corporation lands.
That's private property.
Don't want to
Keep
be,
off.
Don't
yeah,
want to be
stay
shared.
away
Okay.
from it. You want people shooting moose in your front yard? No, of course you don't, unless they're going to share it with you.
They're not my moose. They're the state of Alaska's moose.
But
I
it's
guess
your property.
That's where
You control access. That's a fundamental constitutional tenet that we need to respect for all private landowners. But let's go back to the idea of what Heather Kendall Miller's talking about and why there's such a big division. I think that division comes because there's a segment of our political population in the state that doesn't want to work with Alaska Natives on a couple of the most important issues. And there are a lot of important issues, from healthcare to education to childcare to sexual abuse and all those things. But the things that are always in the media, the things that we always debate, are subsistence and sovereignty. And unless that certain population of politicians is willing to come and reach across the aisle and say, let's work on these issues together, there's always going to be a divide.
Now, what's your guys' take on subsistence and sovereignty? And I'm talking here with Terrence Shenigan. He's a trooper. He has been an advisor to the Walker campaign and lieutenant governor candidate Craig Fleener with Walker up until just a few days ago.
Well, I can give you mine before Terrence goes, but there are two perspectives. The Alaska state perspective, based on our Constitution, is equal access for everyone, and that's one perspective. Another perspective comes from the federal side, which is access to subsistence for rurally qualified residents. From the perspective of the Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act, and what was originally in the original conversation, in the original discussion, was that in order to get this land settlement passed, we need to make sure that we take care of Alaska Natives' subsistence needs. And if you take a look at whether or not the state and whether or not the federal government has done a good job of ensuring that Alaska Native subsistence needs are being met, I can tell you that it's been an abject failure across the state. You probably cannot talk to 75% of the people in the state and the Alaska Natives in the state and hear from them that their subsistence needs are being met. So that's really, if you ask me, it's sort of a breach of contract. Because one of the biggest things that Alaska Natives gave up is their right to that claim that we can subsist, that we can take care of ourselves, and you stay away from us. So the idea that was supposed to be provided for tribes, subsistence, the ability to subsist. We will help you to make sure that you can subsist. That's been a failure all across the board.
Now, Malat and Walker disagree on this, as far as I understand, because Walker, I read his website, and he said he supports the Alaska Constitution, which is in disagreement with the federal law from ANCSA and ANILCA. How are they going to resolve that?
I think we resolve it by starting a conversation. You cannot fix this problem if you're going to leave the people who it affects most out of the decision-making room. And that's been part of our problem for decades now, is we don't bring the people who are affected by these laws in.
And now is Parnell at fault here? And what would you have wanted him to do? What would the solution look like?
From my perspective, I don't think I can tell you what the solution is, but I can say that a good start for any leader of this state is to reach their hand out to 130,000 Alaskans and say, let's start talking about solutions. Because if we don't talk about solutions together, someone else is going to try to solve that problem, and it creates a wedge. And we have wedges. We've got wedges created, created by our own problems, but the wedges are other people coming in and dividing us further. We have environmental organizations. We have the federal government. We got everybody under the sun that wants to come and divide Alaskans because we're not willing to talk to each other. Why don't we get in the same room and solve these problems together?
And I think it's our responsibility to help everyone. It doesn't matter if you're Parnell, you're Walker, or another candidate. It's our responsibility as Alaska Natives to bring enough information to the table so they have the tools and the knowledge to make good, sound decisions. It isn't about dividing, because as long as we pick sides in this, that we are going forward, it doesn't matter who's at the helm. We need to make sure that that person, regardless of party affiliation, has the information they need to make good judgments, and we continually approach them in a congenial way so that we are building that relationship. And I think that there is a lack of information and understanding even about the role of Alaska Natives. American Indians were specifically identified in the Constitution, in documents in the Constitution, 3 times. And when you look at sovereignty, people also don't understand in the general populace what that means, this nation-to-nation relationship. The Congress even states that the relationship is a domestic dependent relationship. It isn't the same equality as America to another nation, another country. We are lesser than that. And so when you understand even the general framework, it is far less threatening than what is portrayed. But we have to continue to educate and share that information, and it really doesn't, it crosses all party lines.
Well, the way that you presented it is so different than the way Heather Kendall Miller presented it, because she was so confrontational and wasn't looking really for she was looking for confrontation. She wasn't looking for a conversation.
Well, I think that's been the discussion on both sides. I think we're all culpable. We're all guilty for not having done more to try to resolve this problem that exists in our state amongst Alaskans. I mean, if this is the first conversation you gentlemen have had with anybody to talk about what do natives think about subsistence, you should have more. You should invite us and more people like us to have these conversations, and let's start a dialogue, because we will not fix this problem. We will not get to the end of the trail unless we take our first step on that trail.
We really appreciate you fellas coming in. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take a break. Be right back. Time is 7:59.
Thank you.
Take a break. Be right back. Time is 7:59.
Is the Seattle.
What in the name of Blackbeard?
CND at the Last Frontier Bar on Muldoon, the official home of the Hawks. Cold beer, tons of prizes, and all the action on flat screens in every corner. Get to the Last Frontier every week as the Seattle Seahawks journey toward another winning season. Let the hits begin.
Wanting to immerse yourself into a delicious and authentic Mexican dining experience? Well, look no further. Don Jose's serves the best original Mexican cuisine in the land. And this month, in celebration of Mexican independence, visit Don Jose's restaurant, and when you buy a $50 gift card, you'll receive an additional $15 card for treat yourself while treating an amigo. Don Jose's at 2052 East Northern Lights.
Hot talk all day. Hot talk every day. 95.1 FM, 1080 AM. KOAN, Anchorage.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. Don't wait until they attack the homeland. That's what some in Congress are saying as the president prepares to lay out his strategy to fight ISIS. But others say don't rush it. Fox News Radio's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Lisa asked whether Congress will take a vote authorizing military action against ISIS. Democratic Caucus Chair Javier Becerra said members must decide if the president is taking the nation to war.
In which case, he would need to ask Congress for that.
House Speaker John Boehner says until they hear the president's strategy for defeating ISIS,
all we're doing is speculating.
In a few hours, the president will meet with top congressional Republicans and Democrats in the Oval Office. Tomorrow, he'll address the nation on the strategy for defeating the terror group. Lisa
and Rachel, the White House just confirming the president will speak at 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. A Capitol Hill hearing underway on the police response to protests over a police shooting in suburban St. Louis. Fox News Radio's Jeff Manasso monitoring live from our Midwest Bureau.
Lisa, we saw protesters destroying property and inciting violence in Ferguson, Missouri last month, and we saw police respond with military-grade vehicles and weapons, which drew outrage from lawmakers on both sides.
I think most Americans were uncomfortable watching a suburban street in St. Louis being transformed into a war zone.
Missouri Democratic Senator Claire McCaskill leading a Senate hearing. She wants to limit the transfer of military equipment to local police in a program that was meant to help outgunned forces. Police have defended their approach, though, in Ferguson, noting the few injuries amid the dangerous situation they confronted. Lisa.
Just the grand jury probe of Michael Brown's shooting death continues. A social media statement reported from the wife of suspended NFL player Ray Rice calls the release of the video of him punching her a ratings stunt. He says it's a horrible thing that they're having to relive a moment of their lives they regret every day. You're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Attention homeowners. I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. We've told you about HARP in the past. There are so many more of you who could be saving hundreds of dollars every month on your mortgage. It's simple and easy. And for 4 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. To learn more, call 800-QUICKEN.
Visit jdpower.com for more information. Important terms and conditions apply. Calls for cost information. Equal housing lender. License law 50 states and plus 50.
Gear up for fall and haul in the savings. Choose 0% 60-month financing or big cash off select John Deere tractors. From the 1 family to 150 horsepower utility tractors. Plus, get $1,500 off new 1 family tractors when you buy 2 implements. Offer ends October 31st, 2014, subject to approved credit on John Deere financial installment plan. Some restrictions apply. See your participating dealer for details.
Visit your local John Deere dealer today to take advantage of special savings going on now. Find out more at myjohndeeredealer.com.
Just 10 miles north of the entrance to Denali Park is the town of Healing. It's got beautiful scenery, abundant wildlife, clean air, and Alaska's largest coal mine. Now you're probably wondering, can a coal mine operate in harmony with a national park? Ask the locals. They'll tell you it can, and it has for decades. Healing has been home to Usabelli Coal Mine since 1943. But you can hardly tell there's a coal mine nearby. That's because every summer, Usabelli employees roll up their sleeves and plant thousands of trees on lands that were once mined for coal. Within a few years, the land is restored to a natural state, ideal habitat for Alaskans of every species. Usabelli Coal Mine, restoring Alaska to the way we found it.
I'm a man on a quest for adventure and excitement in Prince William Sound. My 4-hour Glacier Quest cruise takes me up close to otters, seals, and North America's largest concentration of tidewater glaciers. It's not just a cruise. It's fast. It's wild. It's...
Hey, Dad!
Huh?
Look, a seal!
It's affordable enough to take the whole family.
The Glacier Quest Cruise, an adventure from the 26 Glacier Cruise Guys. Just $99 for adults and $59 for kids. Book now at 26glaciers.com.
When Malarkey Mark Begich ran for U.S. Senator, he made a lot of claims about his record as Anchorage mayor. Begich knew the truth wouldn't come to light before the election. But now, history is caught up with Malarkey Mark. Under Begich, Anchorage taxes went up 27%. Under Begich, the city budget ballooned, a $142 million increase in spending. Under Begich, the city was saddled with unprecedented 5-year union contracts. Under Begich, a deficit of over $20 million was left for the next mayor to deal with. Begich left Anchorage in serious trouble. Alaska's Energy, America's Values paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. It's time to replace Malarkey Mark with U.S. Senator Dan Sullivan. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. EnergyandValues.com.
When I grew up, I wanted to be a pro basketball player. An elementary school teacher. Oh, an Olympic gymnast.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, The local country financial representative offers helpful advice on everything from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream. For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial, grow your own way.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan.
Home Depot. While supplies last, styles vary by market. U.S. only. See store for details.
Fagan and Beagle. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. on the Talk of the Valley.
6 minutes past 8 o'clock on this Tuesday morning, September 9th. Other than your house, your car is one of the biggest decisions you're going to make when it comes to spending your money. So you want to deal with someone you trust. And that's our friend, Ollie Sheik, over at Payless Car Sales. Ollie has an incredible selection of top quality, reliable, beautiful trucks, cars, SUVs. He offers very flexible financing. And the bottom line is you're going to feel like royalty when you go to Payless Car Sales. They're non-commissioned salespeople. They're going to treat you well. They're going to answer any question you have about any of the vehicles in stock. No pressure. They're about building relationships with their customers one at a time. That's why Ollie Sheik, Payless Car Sales, is now the fastest growing car dealership in Alaska. It's now the second largest used car dealership in Anchorage. Go see our good friend Ollie Sheik. Tell him Glenn and Dan sent you. Payless Car Sales. They're on 5th Avenue, 919 East 5th Avenue. Payless Car Sales. 8:07 is the time. Happy to welcome into the studio our old friend Lisa Reimers, and she brought Marilyn Anderson, both with the Iliamna Development Corporation. Marilyn, you're on the board.
Yes.
And Lisa, you're the president, CEO?
CEO.
CEO. Mm-hmm. Welcome both.
Thank you for having us.
It's always a pleasure. We got to know you, Lisa, when we were doing the television show, and I know that one of the things that's very near and dear to your heart is the economy out in Western Alaska. And we spent a little bit of time out there touring the area, seeing some of the benefits of the potential of Pebble Mine, and it was really exciting to go out there and see what we were able to see. Now, I understand since the lawless EPA has come in and shut everything down, it's a very different scene. It just breaks my heart.
It's like a town, you know, the commercial BB&C shows, the way it's always been.
Yes.
That's exactly how it looks.
Yeah.
And everybody, it's depressing when you see everybody because they feel like there's no hope.
Right.
That their one hope of having a job and an economy to live there is gone. And we don't know how we fix that unless we start voicing our opinions. And all these people that are talking for us, that's what makes us angry, and not angry, but we need to be heard.
Do you feel like that there is that you are in the minority in the Native community?
I think the media has, some of the media, like you guys have us on, but a lot of the media, they really don't share our view. Yesterday was the first time I think we actually had an article that was written
very well done,
and printed.
By the way. Yes.
And, you know, thanks to you that you have us on your radio, but
yeah,
the media was keeping us shut out.
But I think the Daily News, the old Daily News, they were terrible about it. Yeah, I guess we have to kind of credit the Alaska Dispatch for printing your column yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't think the Daily News, the old Daily News, would have done it.
No, we tried to write things to share a view, and they would not print it. And Alaska Dispatch, you know, I have to give them credit. They were working with me to get it in. And
and the premise of your column was what?
Well, to address the Miller story.
The Heather Kender Miller story.
Yes.
How did you interpret her column? What was she trying to say?
She was trying to speak for the natives of Alaska that they should vote for Begich because he represents everything that we stand for, and that's not true. And Marilyn has a story of what she could attest to, of, you know, why we thought we should speak out.
Well, I feel as far as women, Alaska Native women,
we've kept silent, we've stood by, but I think our economy is going to the point where, as leaders, even though it's a small community, we need to stand and say, no, what has been done in the past, and now what's being done to our land. We need to stand up and give a voice to the people that are not going to survive the winters because of no jobs, no economy. The government, federal government, coming in and putting in laws that are going to tie up lands for years. And I've worked in the oil business for 23 years, and I really feel that we could do all our resources with such professionalism. I told the EPA they did the oil field for years, and they've always did a good job, but yet because of a few people that don't live there and don't have an economy there except for the summers, have come in and implemented laws that could tear up our whole economy and our people. Even reading an article this morning on the Kuskokwim, the federal government on the hunting, they just decided that these people, they're poor. There's poor people that need the livelihood of subsistence to get through the winter. If they can't hunt, and that's what's going to happen if some of this stuff comes through, and we don't have the representation back in Washington that is strong enough to help our people in the villages.
And we're talking to Lisa Reimers and Marilyn Anderson of the Iliamna Development Corporation. And Heather Kinder Miller's point was that Begich is the solution to what you're describing, but you would disagree. He's part of the problem.
Very much so. I think that his record shows, if people really would read and know what he does back in Washington, which we learned that he had one bill, and the bill was to name a building, and that basically is the record. And we as people here in Alaska, whether you're native or you're an Alaskan, and we need to know what our resources is and what we need to do to keep it going, or else we told the EPA, we don't have cattle, we don't have farms, we have the resources to make a living. And even in this morning's paper, the oil, Exxon predicts less oil. So now what are we going to do? So we need the jobs.
Yeah. The voices that you represent, you often face resistance not only in the media, but among other Alaskan Natives. Are they just louder than you, or do they truly represent more people?
To me, when we saw a leader at one of the EPA hearings, and Marilyn, he represents us under BB&C, Marilyn wanted me to go introduce her to him because she was so embarrassed that he was our leader and that he was so rude.
Wow.
Maybe she could describe what she goes, we've been sitting back allowing these leaders to speak for us,
yes,
to get out in the media and say they represent us when they don't. She goes, even the commercial where the Port Haydn guy is saying, Sullivan, you don't represent us because we're commercial fishermen.
Right.
To me, that's almost feeling threatening to us because we don't go in Port Haydn's backyard and do that to them.
We got to take a quick break. We'll continue. 8:14.
We don't go in Port Haydn's backyard and do that to them.
We got to take a quick break. We'll continue. 8:14.
KOA. You're on with Fagan and Biegel.
When you've got the best ingredients, the pizza comes out right. That's just what we're cooking for every appetite. Experience the flavor, call us right away. 24/7, it's a pizza party day.
For the past 20 years, Sicily's Pizza has served Alaskans hot, fresh, quality pizza at a great price. And as a special thanks to all of their loyal customers, Sicily's is having a 20th anniversary sale. Any pizza, any size, for just 20 cents. Now that's an offer that you really can sink your teeth into. Call 333-8000 and order the Sicily's 20th anniversary special. Buy any pizza, any size, and get a second pizza for only 20 cents. Order online at sicilyspizza.com. Offer valid for pickup and carry out only. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza. 333-8000.
This is Dr. Ellenberg. Are you tired of taking medications? Your medications create more side effects than solutions. Do you want more than 15 minutes with your doctor? If you answer yes to those questions, you should consider calling the Ellenberg Center for Natural Medicine. At our center, we take the time to listen and focus on finding the cause of your health problems. Whether you have a cold, high blood pressure, diabetes, or cancer, we can help. Call the Ellenberg Center for Natural Medicine at 563-2366 or visit us online at drellenberg.com. We can help.
This is Olympic cross country skier Holly Brooks. Are you an adult who wants to help today's girls become tomorrow's leaders? Girl Scouts of Alaska is looking for volunteers. Lead a Girl Scout troop, coach a Lego robotics team, or present at a workshop. Parents, grandparents, college students, and retirees can all be Girl Scout volunteers. All you need is a willingness to help make tomorrow's leaders from today's girls. Girls like me, because I was a Girl Scout. Visit www.girlscoutsalaska.org or call 248-2250.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080 KOAN. Fagan, Biegel. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. The Talk of the Valley, KVNT.
You know, I remember the days back when cars used to have a 1 year, 12,000-mile warranty. Now they get 3 years, 30,000-mile warranty. 1 year, 3 year warranty. I thought that was such a big deal. Here's a warranty for you folks. How'd you like to have a 50-year warranty? Well, that's what Frank and Becky Earhart and their son James at Earhart Roofing offer you. 50-year warranty. If they install a roof for you, it's good for half a century. That's confidence. That's producing quality. That's why Earhart Roofing is now the premier roofing company in Alaska, whether it's industrial, commercial, or residential. For 42 years, they've been putting roofs on the homes of Alaskans, and they're going to continue. They always go above and beyond. You will be satisfied. And, of course, if you're not, 50 years, 50-year warranty on your roof. It's amazing. Go see the folks at Earhart Roofing, Frank and Becky. Here's their number, 345-5555, 345 and then 4 5s. That's Earhart Roofing. 8:18 is our time. We're talking with Lisa Reimers, who is with the Iliamna Development Corporation. She's CEO. And Marilyn Anderson, who's also a board member, talking about the Senate race, and in particular a column written by Heather Kendall Miller, who basically came out and said that vote for Begich. He's the guy who represents our interests.
You guys are in a part of the state, and I really see there's kind of two primary stories that are going on in the Native community. One where existence is threatened right now. Mm-hmm. That is your experience. Another where if existence isn't threatened, then independence is threatened, either immediately or in the near term.
Yes.
Is that fair?
Yes.
Is that the way we want to live?
I feel that, if we don't stand up and get good leaders back in Washington that could keep our not our country, but our state going in the right direction for jobs in Alaska, it's going to get worse, and I really believe that if we don't look at the work record of our people that have been there and then want to go back, then we need to educate ourselves and understand that.
How important are jobs? Because there's a lot of people who live here in town, and jobs are just here. They just are. It's not like we got to worry about it. They exist. We go out and get one when we want one. We get a second one if we want a second one. How important are jobs for the bush?
I think if you don't have a job out there, you don't have hope. And people want to be able to live at home and live, have the choice of doing a traditional lifestyle, work, support your family, and then go out and go fishing, berry picking, hunting, and do those kind of things. But we don't live like we did 30 years ago. And that's what I found Heather Kendall Miller's article so offensive. She thinks we should be poor. They should all speak for us, and that's not who we are. We want to make dreams happen for our kids and our future of our children. And the state is not just it's not just Iliamna's Pebble, it's all of Alaska to decide. It's not just our fish, it's everybody's fish. I'm tired of everybody saying it's our fish, and natives that are so angry about it. We're not that way. We just show a different perspective, and we're tired of people speaking for us.
Having somebody speak for it, and that's really what Heather Kendall Miller tried to do. Right. And I think that's why you guys stood up and said, you don't speak for us. You don't speak for everybody.
Right.
And stop acting like you do.
Well, they have, to me, an impression of us not being educated or reading the newspaper or watching the news or knowing what's going on. A couple stories. One is a Red Dog Mine person that is a leader up there. He said, my children has homes. They have a huge hospital up in the Nome area. This is a resource in Alaska that is contributing to, quote, Alaska natives. And, for somebody to sit back and even we saw it when we had meetings that we went in and basically it wasn't the locals that are the people that live in the villages that stood up, but it was somebody stood across the room, felt like they knew what was better for us than and implemented laws and trying to implement laws that would tie up land issues for years. So to me, that angered me that we just sat there silently and just,
The EPA's pretty, they're pretty forceful.
Very.
What blame do you? Because I've heard it been said that really, the EPA has invaded Alaska and Begich is the one who brought them here.
Yeah, he brought Maria Cantwell, who's all against Pebble, who brought EPA in. And to me, we need leadership in Washington that actually could read these laws, the 404 Clean Water Act, and understand it like Sullivan, and say this is not good for the state of Alaska. This will set a precedent for all projects, all resource development. And I don't see Begich doing that. He's not a leader. If you're a good leader, you'll stand up and you'll speak out, and you may not be popular when you speak out about it, but at least you know that the point is getting across. That's a leader. That's a true leader.
Where do you guys come down on this gubernatorial race? Who do you like him?
I'm a Sullivan fan.
No, the governor's race.
Oh, the governor.
Walker or Parnell?
That's tough.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't know much about what the Walker side is yet because they've changed everything on their party, and that kind of like what? But I'm leaning towards a Parnell.
Are you? What about you, Lisa?
Well, I didn't like what when they mentioned about Pebble. To me, all the political people say, "Well, I'm against Pebble." To me, that's just trying to make themselves look good.
Who are you talking about now?
Mallet. Is his name Mallet?
Oh, Byron Mallet. Yeah.
Yes.
Malott.
Yeah. And
he's opposed to Pebble Mine.
He's opposed. That to me, instead of reading the information and deciding for yourself what's best for the people that live there in Iliamna, go and talk to them.
Right.
What do you guys want?
What about Walker? Where's he on Pebble Mine?
I think he said he was against, but he also he was for the Bella Hammond. Remember when she spoke out? And she was fined.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, poor lady. Okay, she should understand."
Bella Hammond,
she was
Jay Hammond's wife.
Jay Hammond's,
who's opposed to developing.
Right. And if anybody should understand policy, it should be Bella Hammond because she was married to a policymaker.
Right.
So how could she not know when you sign your name to something like a lawsuit against Pebble that you're not liable for that?
Yes.
You are liable once you put your name on that.
Sure.
So he was like, poor lady. No, she should know better than that.
Yeah.
You know, we got to stop following people thinking that's the best for everybody, and they speak for us all.
What's Western Alaska gonna look like 50 years from now if the EPA and Mark Begich is successful in shutting out and down all mining?
Well, you already see the devastation of. They had a good year this year, so it is good. But I was a fisherman for all my life, and you have your good years about every 20 years. And if you have a permit and a good buyer, you're going to do okay. But
a small percentage of the population out there
the
means to make money that way.
Well, they say like 85% of the permits are outside
of Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
We never hear that in the media much, do we?
No, they won't. They won't address that issue.
Yeah.
Well, there was a guy in Kotzebue that had an article on Sunday that said we're not like the Bristol Bay area. We are local natives that run our fishery. Yeah. And then he said it. 85% of the permits in the Bristol Bay area are not local.
Right.
And I know that for a fact because of being from there and not.
So why does the Bristol Bay Native Corporation take such an adversarial position, and they do it under such false pretense, as though they're standing up for the native fishermen, when so few of the fishermen out there are native? That's so deceptive. Can either one of you explain that to me?
Well, I've talked to many people that have asked that question. And the only thing I could come down to is the power and the control they're afraid of losing, because they've always had it for 30 years.
The Bristol Bay Native.
Oh, yes. And it's been under control of the Dillingham group.
Right.
The Nushagak area.
Yes.
Because of population.
Yes.
Now all of a sudden you see over here Iliamna and this group is getting, their voices heard.
But Lisa, they're willing to sacrifice an entire economy to maintain that power?
I think so.
That's horrific.
Well, I had a board member tell me for the next 5 years, basically the villages are going to suffer because of lack of money, the lack of doing anything in the area. And, I'm from the Naknek area, so I know you still have families moving out because they can't afford to live there in the winters. Yes, you have your hubs that are doing better and are more supported by the BBNC. You got the more education driven towards them. But to have that attitude, and that's why I spoke to a board member, you do not represent me. When you come to these meetings and say that, yes, BBNC, da-da-da, no, I'm a board member. You don't talk for me. So...
And another thing about BBNC is if you were to ask them, how many jobs do you create in the region?
Yeah.
0.
Yeah.
Oh, they're trying to create part-time jobs.
Right.
But they don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Those are things that are not exposed out in the media.
It's amazing.
It is amazing that we've kept this, everybody's hush-hush. That's why we said that's enough. Everybody's just tired of everybody speaking for us. Christina Salmon with the ballot measure for mining.
Yes.
In Alaska, she doesn't speak for us. No. She's acting like, I'm so proud I'm bringing this to you. Okay, who's paying her?
Yeah.
She's getting paid by some group, environmental group.
Right.
She doesn't speak for all the people that live out there that are struggling.
One quick story.
Actually, we've got about 20 seconds.
I know. My son, who graduated from college, I brought him back up.
Yes.
BP person interviewed him.
Yes.
Siri introduced him, offered him jobs. I asked my corporation to interview him.
Yeah.
Went to the CEO, no answer.
Oh. Lisa Reimers, Marilyn Anderson, I really appreciate it. I know you take a lot of heat for your positions.
We will.
And I appreciate your courage. I honestly do.
Vote Sullivan 2014.
Yay, Sullivan.
Thank you, guys. 8:29 is the time.
2014.
Yay, Sullivan.
Thank you, guys. 8:29 is the time.
Don't just sit there. Give them a call. 561-1080. Join the conversation. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT. Online at 1020kvnt.com.
This is Charles White with your Matsu Report. Friends of Michelle Lane held a meeting last night to organize a Justice for Michelle effort. They do not believe the 22-year-old mother committed suicide. They want local police to further investigate the case. Lane was found dead in the Foxwood condos in South Anchorage on September 2nd. We told you next year may bring significant increases in the cost of health insurance purchased on the new federal exchange under Obamacare. Ann Kender reports.
The State Division of Insurance has already approved increases that range from 22 to 40% on policies purchased under the Affordable Care Act. It applies mostly in cases where the individual does not receive a subsidy from the federal government. About 10,000 of the 16,000 Alaska residents with individual policies are eligible for subsidies.
When you see news happening, email news@1020kvnt.com.
Mostly cloudy skies with a bit of rain for today, high 56. Cloudy with a brief shower for tonight, low 50. Cloudy with a passing shower Wednesday, high 56. Wednesday night, low 47. Thursday, clouds and sunshine with a shower in spots, high 62. Friday, high 59. If the Valley's talking, you'll hear it here. KVNT Valley News Talk 92.5 FM and 1020 AM.
When you've got the best ingredients, the pizza comes out right. That's just what we're cooking for every appetite. Experience the flavor, call us right away. 24/7, it's a pizza party day.
For the past 20 years, Sicily's Pizza has served Alaskans hot, fresh, quality pizza at a great price. And as a special thanks to all of their loyal customers, Sicily's is having a 20th anniversary sale. Any pizza, any size, for just 20 cents. Now that's an offer that you really can sink your teeth into. Call 333-8000 and order the Sicily's 20th anniversary special. Buy any pizza, get a second pizza for only 20 cents. Order online at Sicily'sPizza.com. For pickup and carry out only. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza. 333-8000.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out moviesak.com.
Find movie showtimes for Anchorage and the Valley at moviesak.com. Check out trailers and reviews updated daily. Moviesak.com, your local location on the web to find out everything you need to know before you go out. Register for free movie tickets that are given away every week and the grand prize of movie tickets for life.
Hi folks, I'm Scott Jansen, owner of Jansen's Evergreen Memorial Chapel, Jansen's Eagle River Funeral Home, and Jansen's Alaska Cremation Center. I'm also a two-time Iditarod finisher, known these days as the Mushin Mortician. As a funeral director serving Alaskans for over 27 years, I value the trust Alaskans place in us and have earned a reputation of providing those we serve the most comfortable facilities, professional staffing, and service options available. Whether you live in Anchorage or the Valley, Kenai, Homer, Seward, you have a choice in funeral homes. We can help you with cremation or burial, purchasing a casket, or even grave markers. Let us prove to you that we are the best, most professional funeral homes and crematory in Alaska. Choose an Alaskan-owned Jansen Funeral Home, Jansen's Evergreen Memorial Chapel, Jansen's Alaska Cremation Center, or Jansen's Eagle River Funeral Home, where, just like family, we're there when you need us.
Make your next corporate or social event spectacular with Logistics LLC. Team Logistics is passionate about their work and welcomes the opportunity to provide you in-depth expertise in creating and transforming your vision into reality. Make Logistics LLC your first call when needing assistance with planning your next event. From gala dinners, holiday parties, company picnics, team building, fundraisers, weddings, and more, Logistics LLC will design, plan, and create an event that provides impact and inspiration that will work within your budget. Team Logistics has the innovative ability to create seamless events that allow our clients to dream big and deliver an amazing event that is sure to wow you. Think Logistics, whatever the reason, and watch them build an environment of magic and wonder for your special occasions. Get a quote and more information online at logisticsllc.com or give them a call at 276.
That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years. I get scared at the dentist. Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. It's important to have good.
and you look better with good. Riley offers cosmetic chemistry, flawless dental care. Visit Dr. Dan Fowley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
You're on with Fagan and Beagle in the morning. You're on with Fagan and Beagle in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT.
8:35 in the morning, Tuesday morning, September 9th. Alaska Neurology Center is the premier medical facility in South Anchorage. Used to be when you would have some type of neurological disorder, you would have to go outside to get really specialized care. Well, no more. Thanks to the Alaska Neurology Center, located right there on Diamond and the Old Sword Highway in the old Borders bookstore. They have the very best of specialists to deal with any type of neurological disorder that you may have. They also have become Alaska's premier sleep clinic. They have several rooms set up, and if you have difficulty sleeping at night, they will help you sleep, and it will revolutionize and change your life. Some people haven't had a good night's sleep in years, and you go to see the folks at the Alaska Neurological Center, and then you're not going to believe what a difference it will make in your life. Give them a call, 565-6000. 565-6000, Alaska Neurological Center. 836, one of my heroes, a crusader for the free markets. She's been in the battle, and she's war-torn. She's still in there. She's taking hits. She gets back up again. You have more grit than anybody I've ever met.
Well, thank you.
Rebecca Logan with the Alliance, which is an organization that represents not the producers, but companies that work in the oil industry, support
for oil, gas, and mining.
And you have members ranging from
Sweeney's Clothing down in Kenai to all the banks to all the hotels. Very, very diverse membership.
And you're always looking out for the free market, the private sector. You want the private sector to do well. That's
Absolutely.
your purpose.
Yes.
Now, you normally, as an organization, do not endorse candidates.
We don't. I guess the organization's been around about 35 years. About 20 years ago, they got into endorsing people, and it didn't go well. So we haven't done anything since then.
Now you've made an exception.
We have. Yep.
And is that mic all the way up, Brian? And now you've decided to endorse.
If people are watching on TV,
yeah, I'm sorry. We have a brand new studio, and they didn't really tighten the mics up.
Now I got it figured out. Now people watching on TV can see my arm.
Yeah. So sorry about that.
That's fine.
So now you decided to endorse.
Yeah, we have. I think the last time I was on here, I was saying to you guys, we don't endorse candidates.
Right.
And I said, but we have to ask ourselves the question: are we better off today than we were in 2009 with regard to resource development? And I said, the answer is absolutely not.
Yeah.
And that kind of started our group thinking about that. I think that we just started saying, gosh, we're not. And are we going to continue down this path? And we cannot do that for another 6 years.
So you've endorsed?
We've endorsed Dan Sullivan wholeheartedly.
Well, I can see, as an organization that wants to promote the private sector and fight against government tyranny and overreach, especially from the feds, that starts with getting rid of Mark Beckich.
Yeah. I mean, he hasn't done what he should have done. He was in the majority party for the last 6 years, but unfortunately he's part of an administration that doesn't support resource development, so it hasn't mattered.
Yeah.
And that would be bad enough, but he's actually, supported some of the horrible things that have happened in the state. You had Lisa on before, who I just adore. You talk about a crusader.
Yeah.
Talking about the EPA. What the EPA is doing in this state is so horrible, and it's precedent setting for the rest of the nation. And that's something that Mark Beckich supports.
Yes. He brought them.
Oh, absolutely.
He let them in.
Yeah. Disappointing, very disappointing to have them here doing what they're doing, and we're part of a lawsuit now with other resource development groups here. The RDC started this to challenge what the EPA is doing, to challenge with the legality of what they're doing, and also to question how they came about with their watershed assessment. It's steeped in controversy because they were colluding with organizations before they did that, and Senator Beggich has supported that.
I don't understand, in a resource development state where we're so dependent on that segment of our economy, how a guy like Beggich, who's so anti-resource development and is such an intricate part of an anti-resource development team, and Harry Reid said his greatest accomplishment was blocking development in Anwar. How does he fool so many people? How is it that he even is where he is now?
I don't know that I would say that he's anti-resource development. I think he is. He understands, that it is our economy. The question is, how far is he willing to go to support that? Because his mentor was Tony Knowles, and obviously Governor Knowles was a strong supporter of resource development. And so I think Senator Begich is in that same camp, but I don't think that he's willing to risk making enemies from the other side by really staunchly supporting resource development.
Harry Reid and the environmental
Sure.
community.
I mean, the first vote Senator Begich will take if he's reelected is to elect Harry Reid as Speaker of the Senate, right? Senate President.
Do we know how much money Mr. Begich gets, either directly or indirectly, by big environment?
I have no idea.
How would you know that? Because I know with the new rules with campaign finance, with these PACs, you don't really know who controls those.
Well, yeah, I mean, you would know what he gets, right? Because
Right.
he'd have to report that. What you don't know, what you might not know until after the election, is how much some of the independent expenditure groups get.
Well, we know like Chuck Schumer and Harry Reid's PACs, they get huge gobs
Amounts
of
of money.
cash from the environmental movement.
Absolutely.
And he gets huge amounts of benefit
From
Mr.
that.
Vegas does, yeah.
Sure.
So why is it that Alaskans can't put two and two together? If big environment is throwing tons and tons of cash behind you as a candidate, wouldn't it stand to reason for Alaskans that, wait a minute, why would they support a guy like that unless he's really anti-resource development?
I think they are putting that together. I think that, for the 6 years that Senator Begich has been there, he has talked a talk but not walked the walk about resource development, right? Until about the last 2 months, he's been, specifically speaking about things he's done to help resource development. Well, that game is over because it's not accurate, right? So I think now people are really starting to realize as they focus on the election that he's not doing the things he should be doing to help us with regard to resource development.
I'm fascinated by
Rebecca
watching
Logan here with the Alliance.
The Alliance, Alaska Sport Industry Alliance, the most important private sector organization in the state by far. I'm fascinated by Begich and his initial claims that if you send down a team, one on the Republican side, one on the Democrat side, I will be able to change minds and I will be able to change votes. What's in his? Does he have anybody who he's changed the mind on any major development issue for Alaska?
I don't think so. I mean, again, he's part of the majority party, but the person who's been able to actually do something in D.C., even though we're operating in an environment where the administration hates resource development, has been Senator Murkowski in the minority party, right? On the Appropriations Committee, she's the one who is able to take the air permitting away from one department in the EPA and give it to somebody else so that Shell could get their permit, right? That wasn't a Senator Begich move as part of the majority. That was a Senator Murkowski move as part of the minority, but because of her seniority and her understanding of how things work. So I don't put much stock in that.
Let's look at it from a very rational standpoint. That is his claim, and that really is his job, is to go down there, fight his party, fight the environmentalists in his party, fight the structure of his party, change minds, make things different. Wouldn't we have to see a pretty dramatic difference in order for us to give the 60th vote to the Democrats and this president? Wouldn't we have to see him really making a huge difference on behalf of Alaska?
Absolutely, and there isn't a more important issue for us right now with regards to the federal government than the EPA. So, he had the opportunity to sign on to a letter to ask the Inspector General of the EPA to investigate the EPA and what they did with the Bristol Bay watershed assessments. Congressman Young signed on to it. Senator Murkowski signed on to it. All of the resource development groups here encouraged them to do that. He would not do that.
That is so telling.
I think that's a very telling
That's
action.
ironclad proof right there.
Oh, absolutely. Dan
Yeah,
Sullivan would have
absolutely.
signed that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Because the environmentalists wrote that. They basically wrote.
I didn't read that in the
response.
Absolutely. Oh, you didn't? I missed that too.
It must have been sick, that thing. 8:44. Stay with us. Rebecca Logan.
I missed that too.
It must have been sick, that thing. 8:44. Stay with us. Rebecca Logan.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. Give them a call. 569-1080. KOAN.
When Alaska hunters get their moose or caribou, deer or sheep, they face a number of choices. The smart ones bring their meat to Herb Ekman with Alaska Sausage.
We've been processing game for Alaskans since 1963. I am very proud of the products we make.
Alaska Sausage makes wonderful breakfast sausage, Polish sausage, summer sausage, and the old favorites, moosseroni and wieners, plus their famous hunter sticks, pepper sticks, or teriyaki sticks.
And each month we have some great specials like our classic pastrami. Our specials are always very popular. And a superior product starts with superior meat. That's why Alaska Sausage only accepts good, clean game meat that has been well cared for before it gets to us.
You know, there's a lot of hard work involved in bringing back your moose or caribou or sheep. A lot of hard work. So it only makes sense to take it where you'll get the best sausage and meat. Alaska Sausage, near the corner of Arctic and Benson. And our Valley customers can drop their clean boneless meat.
Options, taxes, title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep. Options, model availability, and actual dealer price details.
Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing.
You know what I didn't learn in law school? How much time is spent on documents. Preparing them, revising them, and scanning and routing them. And if all goes well, having my client sign them.
With intelligent printers and MFPs, customized apps and services.
You can reach us at aesalaska.com, 561-5100.
Technology, regulations, oh my! Are you one of the thousands of small business owners in Alaska? Need some advice on success? Listen to Getting Down to Business with Dave Weatherholt, your personal small business guru, on Hot Talk KOAN 95.5 FM and 1080 AM every Saturday from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Your small business resource with advice you can use.
Hot Talk KOAN, man.
118, that's 563-4118. Or visit us at akcopy.net.
Fagan and Biegel, weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. on the Talk of the Valley.
847, you know, they call it pay less for a reason. You pay less at Payless Car Sales. And his team will make sure that they get you into a car, a truck, an SUV that is quality, that's going to last you through the harsh, cold winter in Alaska. Ali Sheik builds his customers' base one customer at a time. He's now the fastest growing car dealership in Alaska, second largest in Anchorage. He knows how to build trust with his customers. That's the model he operates under, and you're the winner as a result of it, because he's going to make sure that you are 100% satisfied when you buy a car from Ali Sheik at Payless Car Sales. You can be guaranteed. Tell Ali that Glenn and I sent you, and he will treat you right. We're talking to Rebecca Logan with the Alliance.
Rebecca, you guys have changed historically, I think, your position on whether or not to endorse candidates. And to me, people only do dramatic things like this, really important things, big things, if your existence is threatened, if there's a significant threat here. What's the threat? Or do you agree? Maybe you don't agree with
Oh, no, I agree. I mean, I think that, you know, it was a 3-hour discussion about, you know, moving forward with doing that because we haven't done it for so long. But, you know, like I said, we've gone backwards from 2009 with regard to resource development. You know, our ability to develop our resources responsibly has either diminished greatly or been taken away, and we can't continue on that way. We just can't do it.
Environmentalists are getting stronger.
We're a resource development
state.
Weaker. Yep, and we just can't do that. We need a thriving private sector. And in Alaska, that means resource development. And, you know, we know that until 2016, we're going to have an administration that does not support resource development. So strategically, what can we do from 2014 to 2016? We can strengthen the Senate, right? We can go to a Republican Senate where Senator Murkowski has incredible power. She chairs the Energy Committee, but more importantly, she chairs the Interior Appropriations Committee that has line item control in budgets over the 4 departments that oversee our resource development.
Amazing.
People don't understand how critical that is.
Oh.
That she has the ability to write into a budget, like an EPA budget, you know, no funds can be used for this type of activity, like a 404C preemptive veto of a resource, you know, and so that is so incredible. And then you need to shore her up with somebody who has the same philosophical beliefs that she does, right? Dan Sullivan does. Dan Sullivan has been fighting the federal government about resource development ever since he's been our AG and at DNR.
So you guys really are speaking here about Harry Reid. Harry Reid is a big problem for
Absolutely.
your organization.
Never
Can
allow.
Begich get away from Harry Reid? I mean, he votes for the guy.
No, if you're going to vote to let that person be the leader, he's never allowed a piece of legislation that helps resource development come to the Senate floor.
Give me a percentage. How much of a senator's power is wrapped up in a leader like Harry Reid, who never, not once, has allowed an amendment to come to the floor? How much of Begich's power does he hand over to Harry Reid?
99.1%.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, because if you're supporting a leader who won't let you vote, you're just basically saying whatever you want, Harry.
Or you're supporting a leader who has all of the power in D.C.
Yeah.
And you're opposing them on issues. It doesn't matter because you have nothing.
Rebecca, I think you share my sentiments that if everything falls into place, the future of Alaska is so bright you can't even imagine.
Yep.
All of the resources that are sitting in our ground, whether it's offshore, minerals, oil and gas in Henmore, oil and gas at Point Thompson. I mean, you can't even begin to talk about the potential this state has. But, and it is a huge but, we as Alaskans have to usher this era of prosperity in by making the right decisions. And it started with Prop 1.
Right.
And we made the right decision there. Then Prop 1 was resurrected with Bill Walker, but I don't think Bill Walker will be elected. But if he is, that's Prop 1 resurrected. And then Begich. I mean, and then, of course, we've got to pick a Republican president in 2 years. But if these measures are if we get these things in alignment, I just see an incredible wave of prosperity hitting this state.
I do. I mean, we're already seeing it, so we don't want that momentum to stop.
Right.
I was in Fairbanks last week and sat down at lunch with one of our members who said it's like a switch was flipped. He
Yes.
said, people were tentative about awarding contracts until we saw what happened with the referendum, and he said it was like
Yes.
2 days afterwards. He said, we are so busy. He said, I need people. And
After
I can't
Prop
find
1
people.
passed.
After we
And failed.
defeated the
Yeah,
referendum.
yes.
And that's the stuff you love to hear.
Yes.
And we don't want that momentum to stop. We need to move forward. So we got the referendum failed.
Right.
Now we've really got to look towards the federal government and the barriers they're putting up to resource development.
And walk. I know you're not political in an organization other than this endorsement of Sullivan, but we can't. Bill Walker will resurrect Sarah Palin's war on big oil, and that will be.
I think it'll be in a different way, though. I mean, he can't mess with the law, right? And I mean, he's got to have the legislators to do that. My concern about Bill Walker would be that he redirects our efforts on the gas pipeline,
Yes.
right? We have made progress on
Oh.
that, and so my concern is that he stops that or tries to go to war with the oil companies over that, and that would really be detrimental.
Question for political purposes, because he really does want a gas line. I get that sense. He always has wanted one.
I object, Your Honor.
If
he wants a gas line his way.
That's what
to
I
help
worry
his
about.
city.
That's what I worry about, is that he may have personal interests here, which kind of override and say, well, I don't want to do it Parnell's way because that's, quote, the wrong way. Even though, and is this pipeline for real? Is the gas pipeline real this time?
A gas pipeline will happen. The details of it, I mean, it's market driven. It's a $65 billion project. We're making more progress, I believe, than we've ever made on the issue before. So whether it's the large diameter pipeline or it's an in-state gas pipeline, we're going to have a gas pipeline.
No doubt.
But those are the details. But with regard to Bill Walker, what concerns me is that he believes, I think he truly believes that he can make a switch in, as he calls it, the negotiating room where we're in control and the oil companies are.
We're in the boardroom.
That's what you hear him say all the time.
Yeah.
What I want to do is put the state in control. Well,
right.
Give us some detail.
Yeah.
Where does he get $65 billion?
Well, and
Isn't that what puts us in control?
Well, but he's first of all, he's suggesting that we don't have any control, and we do, especially with the 25% owner interest in the pipeline. But that's a nice thing to say, and it sounds good to people. Yeah. The state of Alaska is going to be in control. Come on. What does that mean?
I got a question for on Exxon. Exxon just had or I think Dermot Cole put this in, and he's really turned super anti-development, it seems like. But what is the point of his piece, and explain to it? Because I think there's some technical things that just don't match up. I don't really understand what he's saying.
He's trying to take a tariff hearing with the RCA about pipeline flow and suggest that all of us who supported the vote no side were lying about future oil production.
So Exxon came out and they said what? That we're still expecting these oil fields are in decline, and our estimate for next year is what?
A totally different group from those who are the operating side, who are producing, and the pipeline side, or the pipeline people are saying, based on reasonable assumptions, we're going to keep the decline rate at where it's at as we're looking at the next year. That's a totally different deal.
What do you expect to happen in the next year for oil production on the slope? And I realize that it's so hard to estimate this, and that's one of the things people just don't understand. It takes billions of dollars in order to get more oil out of the ground. Just staying level will take billions of dollars.
Right.
These are massive investments that they're talking about making. But what is your expectation?
That we're going to see an increase.
Wow.
We've got what BP testified last year. I think it was Representative Wilson from Fairbanks said, "What are we going to see? How are we going to know that this is working?" And Damien, I can't remember, BP said, "The first thing you're going to see are some new drill rigs up here."
And we've seen that.
We're already seeing that.
Right here.
We've got new drill rigs, and what do drill rigs do? They drill for oil, okay?
They produce.
And that's what they're doing, and so we're seeing that, and that's exciting.
Well, the good news is, Prop 1 failed, so we're going to get the chance to prove our point.
Right.
Unless Walker wins, but I don't think he will. So we're going to get to see what being competitive tax-wise will do.
Right.
And the increase will be self-evident. And the Ivan Moores and Dermot Coles and the Bill Walkers will be proven wrong as history,
Well, they already are, but they're really good at dangling their little shiny thing over here.
Yes.
They're ignoring the fact that we have new drill rigs, that the companies have already announced large amounts of investment over what they had last year. So we're already seeing the increase in activity. We're seeing an increase in production, but they get their teeth in one little thing and say, no, none of that's happening, and people listen to them, unfortunately. But the activity will prove that they are incorrect.
If you had one piece of advice, because there's a lot of people out there that are very distrustful of the oil industry, and they don't want to wait. They just want this negativity to exist between the state of Alaska, the people, and the oil industry. What advice would you give them?
I wish people would watch the support industry. We're a really good indicator of things to come. We have people who worked on the pipeline, who worked here before that. They've been in the business for 30 or 40 years. When SB 21 passed, they began investing in their business in anticipation of the increased activity. Savvy business people don't do that. They don't invest $1 million into a new warehouse because they think something's going to happen. Or they're taking it
because it is happening.
They know it's going to happen, and so that's a really good indicator. And plus, those are Alaskan businesses and Alaskan workers. So if you don't trust the oil companies, okay, talk to the people who live here and work here and do it every single day and look at what they're doing. Like my friend from Air Liquide in Fairbanks. They're busy. They have work. Talk to your neighbors.
Good time to get a job in the oil industry.
It is a good time.
Right now.
Right.
Rebecca, keep up the good fight.
Thanks for having me.
I hope people realize that you've impacted this state more than people can ever begin to realize, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Rebecca Logan with the Alliance. Have a great day, folks. We'll be back tomorrow. Rebecca Logan with the Alliance. Have a great. We'll be back tomorrow.
I would love to know. I'm sure there's a record of it. I would love to know how many times Jack Mark met with people to try to